And welcome back to Hero Power. I'm your host, Avanties, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Zerotio.
What is up, gang? We are on the precipice of Scholomance Academy. I am super excited. I don't know
It's
how about
release
you.
week. Yeah.
I know it's basically Scholomance Eve. It's like that Sunday night before you go to school
Yeah.
for the first time,
Yeah.
and it's actually something you like doing, and it's fresh. And,
See,
yeah.
I'm working from home every day this week, and I'm just like, okay, I need to finish as much of my work as I can by like Wednesday night, so that I'm not really. I can maybe take Thursday off and just kind of,
So
play
funny
some
story.
games.
So I'm going back to work this week. I go back to work tomorrow. As we're recording this tomorrow, so on Monday.
Yeah.
And I called my boss. I said, "Are we still on track for us to come back?" He's like, "Yeah, come back Monday." I was like, "Are you needing us to cut hours?" He goes, "Yeah, unfortunately, until business picks up, we will need you to cut back to 32 hours." I said, "Okay. So how about this? I'll work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm going to take Thursday off as a vacation day." He's like, "Okay." It's like, "Then Friday, I'll cut my hours." He says, "Oh, you have a long week. You want a long weekend next weekend?" I was like, "Yeah." He says, "You got plans?" I said, "Kinda." He goes, "There's something with Hearthstone coming out, isn't there?" He said, "Okay, no problem."
Your boss is following the Hearthstone rotation just so he knows when you'll be in the office. He doesn't play the game. He just needs to know when you're going to be there.
Every time the new set drops, I always leave early for an appointment. Because he's like, "You got an appointment this afternoon?" I was like, "Yeah," because he knows it drops about 1 o'clock. So I usually go to lunch and then I don't come back. So he's just like, "Okay."
That's hilarious.
And our industry isn't getting a lot of work right now because we print photographs for photographers, and right now photographers aren't getting a lot of work because of all the quarantine and all the stuff going around the world. So our workload's really low. Now this is when we pick up. We expect to probably get a decent amount of work here in like 2 weeks, but until then, they don't, because the federal unemployment benefits go away. They don't want to leave us without any money, so they're having us come back at least for 32 hours a week, partial hours. So it's good. I have a really good company that I work for, so I'm happy. But I'm really excited about Scholomance come Thursday.
Yeah, me too. I'm stoked. Let's just kind of, before we get into it, we've both opened our packs.
Yep.
How did you do on the legendary front?
Out of my 140, which is 135, and then 5 golden packs, I got 7 legendaries.
Okay.
2 golden legendaries, 1 out of my 3rd pack in the regulars, and then I got a golden legendary out of my golden packs. I got the Keymaster, and I got Headmaster Kelphazod.
Okay. Awesome.
So, which we haven't talked about Keymaster. We'll be doing that.
We will when we get to the. Yeah, we have a lot of cards to cover this week.
But after the first hit, I actually found out that since I have a fireside going I have firesides through the weekend, I can open those packs as well.
Yes.
My rewards for the month. I got 5 packs from hitting Legend. I hit Legend in both Standard and Wild. Okay. But you only get rewards for 1. But I think I ended around 10K Legend and Standard, but I got up to like 1,500 in Wild. I think that's about where I dropped off.
Okay.
But out of my 5 packs there, I got the Paladin Legendary Turalyon.
Oh, nice.
So I've got a total of 8 legendaries so far out of the 25, I believe the full set has.
Yeah.
So I've got 6,000 dust and a lot 6,000 gold, and then I'll have a lot of dust.
Nice. Well, I only bought the mega bundle, so I got the 80 packs plus the 5 golden packs. I opened the 80 regular packs and pulled 3 legendaries.
Cool.
So yeah, you and my son have stolen all of my luck when it comes to opening legendaries for the last few sets.
I
But
can't say I had a lot of luck because it's 7 in 140, so that's what 1 in 20. I sat right at average.
yeah, I got one in about 27 packs.
You're
give or
below
take.
average. Now your
Yeah.
son ate up all the luck.
Oh yeah, no, he opened 80 packs and pulled 7 legendaries.
Gee, see, I had a lot of people say, "Oh, 7 legendaries. That's what I pulled." I was like, "Yeah, it's not great." He goes, "Oh, that's great odds." I said, "Out of 140 packs," he goes, "Oh, I only did 80."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. But I still have my 5 gold packs unopened. I have managed to maintain the wherewithal to not bust those packs yet.
I
am
would
going to
love
open
to
them
see you open
tonight on this show. At the end of the show, after our card reviews are done, I'm going to bust open those 5 golden packs and we'll see what I get.
So, as a reminder to everybody that I know we're probably going to have some new listeners because I actually joined a community of a streamer, Walter Ruski, who's a streamer out of East Tennessee as well.
Oh, okay.
Great guy. He did a 29-hour stream for his 29th birthday and totally regrets doing it.
Wow.
He also did a pack opening stream where he took a shot after every legendary and he opened 8 legendaries and he regrets that too. But Walter Ruski and his listeners, if you're joining us, welcome. We normally do news in the first half of the show, then we talk about a deck of the week, and then in the second half of the show for our video, people that watch our video show, we actually play that live on the ladder. Now, this week, that will be the last week that we don't play a deck. We're going to be reviewing the last of the cards. I think we have close to 90 cards left.
It's the final card dump. Do-do-do-do.
So, I like a big dump. So
we got a lot to go over. So
we do. So we do have a couple small news items, and then we'll get right into the reviews.
That's right. And to start that off, let's talk about that final card reveal stream that happened a couple of days ago with Crip and Alec Dawson. So I did watch this. I didn't watch it live. I watched it on the replay, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. As always, props to Chalky for being a strong opponent. There were a lot of good matchups between Chalky and Crip.
Couple points. Crip is a great personality and good at the game, even though he almost basically prep coined, but we'll give him that one. And Alec Dawson, a lot of people don't realize. I've had a lot of people say Alec Dawson did a great job on this reveal stream. They need to have him do the rest. Alec Dawson came from a podcast, Golden Wisp.
That's right. He's part of the Hearthstone podcast community.
Yeah. So he has that background. He is a perfect fit for this.
He's a great interviewer and host.
I don't want to say this, but this was so much better than in the studio with a MC, Chris Sierra.
Yes,
it's nothing
it was.
Against Chris Sierra. I like Chris Sierra, and I think he does a great job with other community events. However, this is an intimate 2-person thing. You don't need a third person. You don't need a third wheel chiming in. I've said this before, where a lot of times it was too cluttered when you had Ixar and Brian Kibler, and then of course Chris Sierra chiming in too. So, and when he stepped back and just became an MC, it was better. But this just being from their homes, 2 people talking about the cards, playing some games. This was probably the best reveal stream I've ever seen.
So fun story, real quick. Back in 2018, I guess it was, I got tapped to go help run the Hearthstone Championship Tour in Boston, Massachusetts, and it was they were bringing in 2 innkeepers to run that event. It was me and an innkeeper out of New York named Tim Tu. T-U is his last name. So he and I were talking on phone calls prior to the event, planning the event, figuring out what things we wanted to do, and Tim was like, "Hey, do you mind if I bring my assistant innkeeper with me? He wants to come do one of these things and help us out." And I'm like, "I don't care. You know, you might want to run it by Blizzard." And he cleared everything with Blizzard. So, like, Tim and I were the on-site paid admins, and then his assistant was going to come and just hang out with us for the weekend and help. Well, when we get to Boston, Tim and I meet up at the hotel, and he introduces me to his assistant innkeeper, Alec Dawson.
Oh,
so
was he a Blizzard employee?
He was not with Blizzard at this time. He was still doing the Golden Wisp at the time.
Gotcha.
So yeah, fun story there.
Alec Dawson is just a great guy.
Yes, he really is.
He has a great personality. He also did a card reveal video with Regis Kilbin, which everybody knows. I'm a huge supporter of Regis Kilbin. Next month, or this month, will be my 3 years, 36 months as a subscriber to his channel. And Regis was talking about the video. He says Alec Dawson was so professional. He knew time cues. His flow was really good, and they kept a couple things secret that Regis didn't know about. That was really cool, and he was able to kind of have that element of surprise. And I told Regis, I said, Alec, he's a podcaster, so it's right up. That's his thing. That's his skill set. So
right.
I'm glad they're putting him in this role, and I hope he stays there.
Yeah,
because he's really good at it.
He at Blizzard, since he joined Blizzard, I believe he is a member of the initial design team.
Yes,
and of course, our friend and former member of Coin Concede, Cora, is a member of the final design team.
Yes,
and if you guys haven't
Chalky
heard,
also part of the final design team,
huh?
Is it
Chalky is also a member of the final design team.
Yeah.
And if you guys haven't heard the breaking news this week, Team 5 picked up a new member of the final design team in former Grandmaster Gallon. So congratulations to Gallon on his new role in Hearthstone as a non-player.
And as an unofficial congratulations, as of right now, and again, this isn't confirmed yet, it looks as if Killing All Day is going to be have just enough prize earnings to take the spot that Gallon's going to be relieving from Grandmasters. So again, the esports team has to crunch the numbers and make sure that everything's right. But it looks like right now, Killing All Day is going to take that next GM spot.
All right, so that so it was a great reveal stream, a lot of fun. The decks looked great. I really enjoyed watching the spell damage mage deck that got played. I think it's good. We may see some variants of that in the meta.
And the druid was really crazy.
Oh, the druid deck was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking about, well, I don't know if these big druid cards are going to see play, and then you see druid with like 8 mana on turn 3, and you're going, wait a minute.
There are some broken cards in druid.
Yeah.
But speaking of seeing the cards in action and theory crafting what they're going to do, they also did the Scholomance Academy theory crafting streams, which was, I believe, 16 different streamers, all having access to a closed player pool, which also included Blizzard employees and some of the developers, where they got to play with the new cards and theory craft, or in some cases, meme craft some decks with the new set. Did you watch any of this?
Okay, so no offense to the streamers, but I don't care that you guys are doing theory crafting. I'm not at all interested in theory crafting. I want to get my hands on the cards. I want to do the experimentation. I want to be the one to find these interactions for myself. I don't want to be influenced by outside people. I don't want to see these guys playing the cards early. I want to get my hands on the cards. I want to build decks. I want to find what works, and I want to find what doesn't. So, honestly, I have not watched a theory crafting stream in about 6 expansions now.
I can respect that and understand it. I don't feel the same way. I personally like watching the streams. Now, there were some that were a little more tryhardy, that obviously they are grandmasters, so they're going to be trying to find out what works the best, what has the highest win rates, and I'm not really interested in that. So I only watched one stream, and it was Regis Kelvin, of course, and it's because he does craziness and does stuff that isn't necessarily competitive. It's just unique, and I don't necessarily want to copy his ideas, but I do like inspiration for my own ideas, which is basically my sole reason for watching the stream, was to kind of go, ooh, that's a neat interaction. There were some things that he did on his stream that wasn't necessarily like a high tech or a specific type of deck, but a play that he made in the middle of his stream explained how one of the cards worked, which is the kind of stuff I like to see. It's like, oh, I didn't know the card worked that way. The wording says one thing, but actual playing it is totally different. And we'll talk more about that when we get into the reviews.
Yeah.
Because there is one specific card that needs a little more clarification that, with the help of Regis' stream and talking it over with Coin Concede during their last live episode, we found out how certain cards worked. And I wouldn't have been able to figure that out before the launch until without these theory crafting streams, which is very important to me.
Yeah. So, all right. We did have the official Scholomance Academy patch, which was patch 18.0 drop to bring in everything to be ready for the expansion. But it not only brought us Scholomance Academy, there were some other things in this patch that are that should probably be talked about. And
so when they boxed up all this stuff for the patch, they added some battleground stuff, and a certain little animal, you know how they love boxes so much, must have snuck in there, because with this 18.0 patch, we got Mr. Bigglesworth in Battlegrounds.
Kelphazod's kitty. In fact, that's his hero power. Kelphazod's kitty. It's a passive hero power that whenever a player dies, discover a minion from their warband, it keeps any and all enchantments.
Yes, so I originally was thinking this. I'm like, so basically the most minions you're going to get is 6 minions, because you only have 7 opponents.
Right.
And if you make it to top 2, once that other one dies, the game's over.
Yes,
so
correct.
At most you're ever going to get from this is 6 other minions. And I did play as Mr. Bigglesworth twice and did really well. Once I got first, and another time I got third. And what I didn't understand was you get these completely jacked up minions.
Yes. And
they could be, Divine Shield, Poisonous, Wind Fury Murlocs. They could be giant, already giant pirates. I got the salty pirate that gets +1/+1 or +2/+2 is golden for every pirate you play. I was already running one and had him golden, and I got somebody else's golden for beating them.
Right.
And again, you don't have to beat them. It's just when they die.
But it's also important to note that if you discover a golden, like you did, when you play it, you still get that Tavern tier up minion.
It's very true. So you might, when you get the discover, you might want to choose the golden if it has less stats, just because you get another minion on top of it. So again, I talked to somebody about this. Somebody said that it was a bad hero, because you didn't really get anything from it until mid to late game.
It's true. It is a mid to late game hero.
What I think this hero does is, if you're a good player, makes good choices and doesn't so much, you can pretty much get top 4 with any hero, regardless of how good or bad it is on the tier list. Then this is the hero for you, because if you just play regular, solid gameplay, picking the good best minions each turn, tearing up at the right time, you're going to do well with this, because you're just going to do well like you would with any other game, and then you're all of a sudden going to get all these great minions mid to late game.
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of people say you want another player to die as soon as possible so you get benefit from this. No, you don't. You want them to die late so their minion they give you is as good as possible.
Right, right.
So I think this hero favors somebody who's really good at Battlegrounds. Me personally, I don't think I'm very good at Battlegrounds, and I had middling results with it. I did well once, and I did okay the other time. I think somebody who's usually sits around the 8-9K MMR or higher is going to do really well with it.
So I don't play a whole lot of games. I don't just sit there and grind out Battlegrounds like streamers do. I'll get on and I'll play a game or two, maybe 10 or 15 games a week, but I average top 4. I make top 4 almost every game I play, and I enjoy just doing Battlegrounds and having fun with it. You know, I don't have the time to grind out 100 games in Battleground to get my MMR up to 8-9K. It's unrealistic for me, you know. Yeah. But I know there are people out there that make their living doing it. So
yeah, I probably play maybe 3 to 5 Battlegrounds a week. Mm-hmm. And now that's mainly because a lot of weeks I won't play at all, and then I usually wait till the end of the month when I'm
But you're more of a ladder player.
I'm more of a ladder player. Now, I'm still sitting around 6K MMR, so I'm not doing terrible. If I was able to put as many games into it as I do standard, then I probably would be sitting higher than I am. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, I don't think I'm a great Battleground player, which is the appeal for me, because it's something I can get better at.
Right.
And that's why, because standard, while I can get better, it's not the amount of growth I would need for it to show isn't worth the time. Where with Battlegrounds, if I just grind a few games in a row, I feel at the end of maybe a 5 or 6 game session that, hey, I'm better at Battlegrounds than I was when I started. So that's what I like from Battlegrounds. Now, with the new Mr. Bigglesworth hero, we got two new minions into the pool, which what they're trying to do is they're trying to keep these pools balanced. So that means 2 minions came out of the pool. The 2 minions that left the pool are Zubot and Menagerie Magician. Now, both of these are key cards for Menagerie build. So what did they replace them with?
Well,
the first...
Yeah, they gave them Menagerie Minions. We have at 2 stars, we have Menagerie Mug, which is a 2/2 minion. Battle cry, give 3 random friendly minions of different minion types, +1/+1. The gold version is a 4/4 that gives +2/+2. And the Menagerie Jug, which is a tier 4 minion, is a 3/3 that gives 3 random friendly minions of different minion types +2/+2. And of course, the gold version of the Jug is a 6/6 minion that gives +4/+4.
Yeah, and these are they're strong. And if you get the new brand hero, I say the reworked brand hero that came out of the last patch, you can use the hero power to get just Battlecry minions. Oh. And on tier 2, you're guaranteed to find Menagerie Mug just about. And it's just super strong.
Yeah.
If you're the Curator, any minion alongside your Amalgam, you're basically getting +2/+2 with the tier 2 minion. So early game is really strong. The Menagerie Mug isn't as strong because by Tavern tier 4 you're starting to decide where you're going. But if you haven't decided, you might still get some buffs out of it.
I want to point out that these two cards are way more powerful than Zubot and Magician were, specifically because Zubot had a limit on what it would only affect Murlocs, beasts, and dragons, I think.
Yes, yeah.
And so it didn't hit any of the other available tops. Yeah, it didn't hit mechs. It didn't. Yeah. This doesn't discriminate. Nope. It hits everything.
That's right.
So these are way more powerful than Zubot and Menagerie Magician were.
Yeah, they're really strong. And of course, also they added in for this patch a lot of game improvements. They put the frames on the weapons, which I really like, except for the Paladin weapons. I think the contrast looks really bad on Paladin, so I'm probably going to craft all the playable Paladin weapons in Golden. But other than that, the weapon frames look really good, and they've added all the cards. And then the free decks for new and returning players are being updated to a whole new set of lists. So if you haven't played for a minimum of 120 days and you come back in anytime after now because the patch has been applied, then you'll get a choice of a recipe deck. And we'll have a link to the show notes and the show notes to this patch, and it will have all the recipes in there.
Yeah. So make sure you check the show notes on HeroPowerHS.com. Also, they've announced the free class, legendary, and launch quests. So, starting on August 6th, players will receive a random Scholomance Academy legendary class card just for logging in.
Yeah, now remember,
go ahead.
Those legendary class cards can be the dual class cards.
Yes, they can. And you will get a chain of legendary quests that will allow you to earn a total of 6 additional Scholomance Academy card packs. So, on August 6th at 10 a.m., you'll receive play 25 cards in play mode to earn 2 Scholomance Academy card packs. The next day at 10 a.m., you'll receive play 20 spells. And then on the 8th, you'll get win 3 games in any mode to earn 2 packs. So,
and one other kind of side thing that's not in these patch notes that they didn't even say, and people just figured it out. Your end of month rewards happened on August the 1st. August the 1st just so happens to be after this patch. So your end of the month rewards always gives you packs of the newest set. Well, the newest set, according to the client, is Scholomance. So if you log in after August 1st and get your rewards for your standard or wild finish, depending how far you got up, if you've earned any packs from those, they are going to be Scholomance packs. Now, you can't open them yet, but on the 6th, you'll be able to open them. So those are more free packs. They could have easily just made those the last set because of, that was what month we played in, but they didn't.
So there was a post on Twitter, I was trying to find it, where they actually said this was an unintended effect. They were supposed to be packs of Ashes of Outland. And
that's fine. We'll take it.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. I got 5, and I was able to my packs from my fireside this weekend, and on top of the 7 I pulled from my 140, I opened a Terralion out of those 5 packs. So thank you so much for the mistake. And somebody said that to me. They said, did they mean to do this? I said, they may have, but they may not have, because they may not have realized that the newest set in the client as of the 1st is now Scholomance. Even though it's not playable, in the actual client, the top set in your collection manager is Scholomance. So it's probably just hard-coded in there to pick the newest set, and then that be it.
Yeah. So, all right. I guess that brings us to this week's Tavern Brawl.
It's just because.
It's just because. Yeah. So this is a repeat. We've had this before. Web spinners are so passé, Macaws, on the other hand, macaws are the future. Take flight with a deck of 23 jeweled macaws and 7 random class spells.
So I was gonna one and done this, and I actually had a quest to just play as a class. So I played 2 more, ended up winning 1. So I ended up playing this 3 times, winning 2 of the 3 games. I was gonna concede the one, but he conceded faster than I could. So, but yeah, this is just a normal one. Nothing much to talk about. Again, new sets coming out. We're not going to expect any craziness with Tavern Brawls probably until like 2 weeks into the new set when we start hearing about the rumblings of solo content and anything else that's coming out. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get to these reviews because we have lots of cards to talk about.
All right. So yeah, let's talk about the final card dump that we saw. Shows us about 90 or so cards still to cover. We're going to try to hit them as quick as we can so that you guys aren't with us for 3 hours like some other shows like to do.
And you know what? You know me. I love a good, healthy dump, but this is a little bit more than I'm used to. Yeah. What, 90 cards here?
Yeah, something like that.
Or close to 90. I think it's like 80-something. I didn't count. I just did the slideshow.
All right, so
it's a lot.
Let's jump right into it. We're going to start with neutrals, and with that, we're going to start with the neutral legendary Keymaster Alabaster. He's a 7-mana 6/8. Whenever your opponent draws a card, add a copy to your hand that costs 1. So
this is neat.
I think this card is phenomenal. And okay, you're absolutely guaranteed 1 card off of this before they have a chance to get rid of it.
And mind you, this you're getting it from your opponent's deck, so it may or may not be good. But with the new set, as we're going to talk about more of these cards, it could be a disruption tool.
Yeah, and I mean, this card is only 7 mana. So, like, even in Mage, late game on turn 10, you can play this into Arcane Intellect and get multiple cards from your opponent.
Well, you're not going to... It's that they draw.
So you're right.
They would have to Arcane Intellect.
It would have to be something that would force both players to draw. So, yeah, not Arcane Intellect.
This is the last of the neutral legendaries we've seen. We've reviewed the other 4. And there aren't really any of the neutral legendaries that I wouldn't want to get. Yeah. Normally, there's at least 1, maybe 2 that you're like, well, once I'm done opening all my packs, I'm going to dust that. But I haven't seen... This might be the closest to it, but honestly, there is some use case. And I opened this in Golden.
What's the draw 2 Murloc? Cold Light Oracle.
Yeah, if you're in Wild, play this in Cold Light Oracle. Bam, bam, bam. But I got this in Golden, and it looks really cool in Golden with everything glowing and floating. It's really neat. But yeah, it's a good card. Yeah. And 7 mana has always... historically been a really bad spot for like Witchy Lackey and Evolve shenanigans. And this is something you wouldn't mind seeing off that, because at the end of the turn is when it happens. It's not a battle cry, it's not a death rattle. It's going to happen at the end of that turn, even if you evolve into it and don't have to play it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving on, we have the Educated Elec. It's a neutral epic minion. It's a beast. 3 mana, 3/4. So already it's a 3 mana, 3/4 beast, which is good. Yeah. And whenever a spell is played, this minion remembers it.
Yes.
Death rattle. Shuffle the spells into your deck.
So whenever a spell is played,
you or your opponent
includes your opponent. So if they use a spell-based removal to clear this, so if they remove this with a Shadow Word Pain
or a Brawl or
you're going to get the Shadow Word Pain on top of any other spells that were played before that.
Now, the question I have is, do we feel like this card could be a double-edged sword where if your opponent chooses not to remove it and just flood the board with spells when this dies, is it going to dilute the draw ability of your deck?
Oh yeah, it is. You definitely don't want to put this in a Highlander deck because they could break your Highlander synergies right away. And you also don't want to put this in something that's relying on draw. But if you're just playing like maybe even a zoo-based strategy or something that has a lot of not very good effective late game or mid game tools, but lots of early game, maybe you play this in that as a good statted 3-drop that if they use spells to remove it, then that's going to give you more tools if you are forced to go to late game.
Yeah. Plus, I love the fact that in Hearthstone, or in World of Warcraft in general, Elecs are generally referred to as elephants. And you know what they say about an elephant's memory.
I don't remember.
Elephants have...
I was making a joke.
Yeah. So,
big guy.
But
anyways.
Elecs remember. Always remember.
I love the art on this because he's holding up a book with his trunk and he's reading it.
Yeah.
It's really neat.
So, all right, moving on, we have the Enchanted Cauldron. This is a 3-mana 1/6 epic minion with Spell Burst. Cast a random spell of the same cost. So, this is on the board. Whatever spell you play triggers the Spell Burst and then casts a random spell of the same cost as the spell you just played.
Yeah, with targets randomly.
Correct.
So, anytime something says cast a random spell, I get real nervous because it's something you really just don't want. I'm not going to want to see this off an Evolve deck or Witchy Lackey. It could cause me.
As Versika used to say, too much RNG. Moving on.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, to me, it's not good.
All right, we have neutral rares up next. First up, we have the Voracious Reader. So this is a 2-mana 1/3. At the end of your turn, draw until you have 3 cards. Guys, it cannot be understated how powerful this card is. For those of you who have been around the game for a while and remember Jeeves, Jeeves was a 4-mana minion that drew 3 cards at the end of turn. Now,
for both players.
For both players.
It was a symmetrical effect.
Yeah. Now you have a 2-mana that only draws you cards. That's huge.
And even if it only happens once, it's gotten more the value. I wish AC was still doing our eulogies because he would need to write a eulogy for Jeeves because Jeeves is dead. Okay.
Oh yeah,
because
Jeeves is
you
so
don't
dead.
play Jeeves anymore, even in Wild. This card goes in place of Jeeves. It's just a million times better. Talk about power creep.
I'm going to tell you, I don't see this card not being played in most archetypes just for the card draw ability.
Well, I mean, I think aggressive and maybe tempo. Tempo can sometimes have to use a lot of tools and they need draw in that deck. But you don't put this in control or probably not even combo because usually you're holding tools for your control or your combo. But in Zoo, perfect. Demon Hunter, an aggressive style Demon Hunter, perfect.
Yeah.
Maybe even the tempo style priest that they're wanting to talk about, perfect. This is a great draw engine.
All right, next up we have Robes of Protection. It's a 3-mana 2/4. Your minions can't be targeted by spells or hero powers while this is on the board.
One of the biggest counters to Zoo is a turn 3 Shadow Madness by Priest. This locks that out.
It does.
One of the hardest decks for Zoo to beat is Priest for that reason. They have early removal and they have just a 3-mana spell that removes 2 minions. It's almost always against Zoo is a 2-for-1. Well, if on 3 you play Robe of Protection, nothing can be targeted. They can only use board-based spells to remove the board or other minions. If the meta starts getting flooded with a lot of spell-based removal, or specifically priest, I believe Robes of Protection is all auto-include in most aggressive to tempo style decks.
Mm-hmm. All right. Moving on. We have the neutral commons. First up, we have Sorceress Substitute. It's a 6 mana 6/6 battle cry. If you have spell damage, summon a copy of this.
This is good.
Yeah, I mean, we actually saw Crip do this in the in their game when he was playing Spell Damage Mage. He discovered a copy of the 1 mana Spell Damage Minion, played it, and then played this on turn 7 to get tempo.
So there was a 7 mana, I think it was like Avalanche Elemental or Avalanche Golem. That was a 7/6 that if you played I think it was you played an Elemental the turn before, it summoned a copy of itself. Mm-hmm. And it was played for a while in an Elemental synergistic mage. I've had a lot of people tell me, well, do you want to water down your mage with spell damage for this card? I don't think you play this in mage. You play this as shaman. It has a new weapon, which we'll talk about, that has spell damage on it. Plus, your hero power has a 25% chance of getting spell damage. So, anytime during the game, you have a chance to be able to play this for 6 mana and for 12/12 in stats. Now, is that good enough? It doesn't have taunt. It doesn't have a death rattle. It doesn't deal with the board. I don't know.
Right.
It might be too slow. But I think it's a solid inclusion in any, maybe just a one-of, in any synergistic spell damage deck. And I think Shaman might be where the best spell damage deck comes from.
Yeah. All right. Next up.
And I say Shaman. That's aside from the mage shenanigans, which I'll talk about later.
Right.
But that's more of a combo centric. It's not really a spell damage deck. It's a combo deck using spell damage.
Yeah. So next up we have the Mana Feeder Pantara. It's a 2 mana 2/3 with a battle cry. If you've used your hero power this turn, draw a card. So, turn 4 or turn 3 if you're a demon hunter, you hero power, play the Mana Feeder, get a 2/3 body, and draw a card.
Yeah, so I like this card. And it couples with another card we'll talk about on the next slide. But
do you like this card because it prompts you to not forget to use your hero power?
Yes, but here's the thing. A lot of 2 mana 2/3s are good in aggressive style decks, but a lot of them require you to do something else with them, which then makes it be you want to play it on 2, but now you don't want to play it on 2. It's a 2-drop you don't want to play on 2. Well, this one you don't have to play on. You don't have to play it late game. If I had this on turn 2, it's a 2 mana 2/3. It's great stats. I just play it.
Yeah,
I don't worry about drawing a card. The benefit is if I don't draw it to play it early game on turn 2, and I have to play it on turn 4 or 5, I can use my hero power to hit him in the face for 2. I can use my hero power to tap for another card. I can use my hero power to armor up, and then I play this, and then I get the card replaced. Basically, I'm paying 2 mana to draw a card, and whatever my hero power says, 2 mana, use whatever the effect is based on your class, and draw a card.
Yeah.
So you're tacking on draw a card with a 2/3 body on this.
Yeah.
So for 4 mana, play a 2/3, do your hero power effect, and draw a card. Yeah, all day. And it's even better in Demon Hunter, of course, because it's only 1.
Right. All right, next up, we have the Steward of Scrolls. Now, this is a 5 mana 4/4 elemental minion that is a spell damage +1 with a battle cry, discover a spell.
I think it's too slow. Now, in some classes, like specifically Demon Hunter, your discover a spell pool is much smaller because it's a newer class. So it might be okay in a mid-range tempo style Demon Hunter, that wants to get more tools. They don't have a lot of card generation anyways. But other than that, I think 5 mana 4/4 with spell damage +1, that doesn't give you a lot of room mana wise, except on maybe turns 9 or 10, to do much with that spell damage that turn. And if you can't do it that turn, then it might as well not say spell damage +1 because it's going to die. So I think it's a little slow. There's not enough elemental synergies as there used to be. It's a decent card. I think on the spreadsheet I rated it a 2. But I don't think it's an include.
Okay. Moving on, we're still in neutral commons. We have the Tour Guide. It's a 1 mana 1/1 battle cry. Your next hero power costs 0.
Now that's next hero power. That's not this turn either.
Yes, that's correct. So it could be.
Play this. You play this on 1.
Yeah.
Then turn 2, you use your hero power for 0, and you play mana feeder.
And draw a card. Yeah.
And draw a card. So, and of course, that's a perfect storm. Do you want to put a 1 mana 1/1 in your deck for that possible scenario that happening? Probably not. This also can couple into some kind of crazy combos. In Wild, this replaces. This goes into the Uther OTK because there's a minion in there now for 3 mana does the same thing.
Right.
Well, now it's just 1 mana. So you might be able to do it all in 1 turn instead of spreading across 2 turns. Because the Uther OTK is more like a 2-turn kill.
Right, because you have to set it up, and then you have to execute it. Yeah.
So, I mean, in Wild, this has a lot of implications. In Standard, not so much yet. But honestly, I mean, a 1/1 body and you can still use your hero power as a Demon Hunter, that's probably the worst situation because you're only getting 1 extra mana out of it.
Right.
And that's still something I'd want to do.
Yeah, yeah. Or, as a Warlock, turn 1 and draw an extra card.
Yeah.
So, All right. Next up, we have the Animated Broomstick. This is a 1 mana 1/1 with Rush, Battle Cry, give your other minions Rush.
This is one of the leaked cards that we didn't review because it was this one and then the 10 mana Druid spell. We didn't know if it was accurate with the translation. Mm-hmm. This just replaces Magic Carpet in Zoo lists because it gives all of those minions that you have in play. Now it's a battle cry, so you have to play it last, but it's a 1 mana minion. So the risk was you Magic Carpet and you hoped it lived.
Uh-huh.
Now you can play all those minions and use a 1 extra mana, just throw it on an Animated Broomstick. It's good. Goes in Zoo.
Okay. Next up, we have the Plagued Proto-Drake. It's an 8 mana 8/8 with a Death Rattle. Summon a random 7-cost minion. Now, this is a dragon, so it will synergize with other dragon cards. But 8 mana 8/8, Death Rattle, summon a random 7-cost minion.
You will also get this off the Dragon Lackey. You will get this off of the Transfer Student when you're on the one board that has the Dragon Bones on it. 7 mana minions historically don't have the greatest stat distribution, but recently they've started putting some 7 mana minions that don't necessarily have great stats, but they have good abilities. There's a 7 mana 7/7 that has a Death Rattle to summon another 7/7 with Taunt. There's the new Keymaster. Mm-hmm. So you could put the Plague Proto-Drake out, it dies. You trade it in the next turn or they kill it, and then the Keymaster comes into play. If they can't remove it, then you're going to get one of their cards when they draw.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like
it. Moving on, we have the Crimson Hothead. This is a 4 mana 3/6 dragon with Spell Burst, gain +1 attack and taunt. So if they don't remove this and you get a spell off, it becomes a 4/6 taunt, basically.
And you can do it that turn.
Yeah.
You can play it and then a spell on top of it. And Priest kind of has the shells of a Dragon Priest. I think it's more of a tempo style deck. And it's not going to be as strong as Dragon Priest of old that we remember with the conscriptors or any of that. But I think this goes in that deck, and I think it does well. Because Priest has a lot of targeting spells, or just spells, period. You can play this and then play removal, and boom, it's a 4/6 taunt. That's solid.
All right, next up we have the Desk Imp. It's a 0 mana 1/1 demon. That's it.
Somebody's going to play this like they did with Wisps and cheese out some crazy combo, but beyond that, I don't think it's going to be that great. However, devolve effects will turn 1-mana minions into Desk Imps, which against the wrong decks, there might be demon synergies and it might backfire on you. So, you got to watch out for that.
Yeah. Next up, we have Lake Thresher. It's a 5-mana 4/6 beast. Also damages the minions next to whoever this attacks. So it's a 5-mana 4/6 with cleave, basically.
Yeah, and if you can give this rush somehow, you can do it with a broomstick. I think there's ways to give beast rush in Hunter. You give this rush, it's a great removal, and a 5 mana and 4 attack. There's still mana to play with in the later turns 7 and 8 that you can pull this off with.
That's right. All right, we've got Smug Senior. It's a 6-mana 5/7 with taunt and a death rattle. Add a 5/7 ghost with taunt to your hand.
So this is kind of another sub mechanic that's in Scholomance Academy, where these minions that have a death rattle to give you another basically same copy without the text in it. So I think this is probably the worst of them because a 6-mana 5/7 taunt isn't really that great. And if it summoned it, it'd be different, but it puts it into your hand.
Right.
And gone are the days of buffing taunt minions in your hand like you used to.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is very strong, but some of the other of its like are pretty good.
All right. Next up, we have Ogremancer. It's a 5-mana 3/7. Whenever your opponent casts a spell, summon a 2/2 skeleton with taunt.
So we saw this kind of thing with Trogs back in the day, and it wasn't as prevalent because back then you removed a lot of stuff with battle cries. You didn't use a lot of spells. Well, there's been a lot of spells added for removal or even summoning minions, like spell-based Druid that summons minions off of their spells. So this might actually be pretty good. 5-mana 3/7 is pretty sticky. It's got a lot of health for that 5-mana slot, and if your opponent decides to even use a single target removal like Shadow Word Pain against this, then you're still going to get a 2/2 taunt out of it before it dies. So I think it's good. What decks it goes in, I don't think it goes in every deck.
Right.
I think it's just a solid inclusion. Maybe a anti-aggro.
Yeah, or you can use it as kind of a disruption because your opponent's going to actually have to stop and think, how do I do this? How do I order my turn to try to avoid or minimize the number of 2/2 skeletons that come out?
And say you're playing against Libram Paladin, and you've been forced to leave a minion on the board, even if it's a 1/1. You're like, well, if they can buff that enough, I could die. And so their plan is to Liadrin and then put a bunch of wisdoms on it and then hit you in the face for a bunch of damage. Well, every time they have to remove this somehow first, because every time they play a wisdom on that minion, you're going to get a 2/2 taunt, which means they can't hit you in the face.
Right.
So I think if decks like that become the norm, this is a good tech in to kind of counter that. If you know that turn's coming up, you throw down the Ogremancer. Now they have to deal with that before they can hit you in the face.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Fishy Flyer. It's a 4-mana 4/3 Murloc. Rush. Death Rattle. Add a 4/3 Ghost with Rush to your hand. So here's that Ghost sub-mechanic again.
Yes. Now, this card, different from the Smug Senior, is a very good card. Murlocs are lacking a lot of things, one of which is Rush. There's one rushing Murloc that's contingent on you attacking. The other rushing Murloc isn't even a Murloc. It's a 2/1 beast, so it doesn't get any of the buffs from Murlocs. This is a Murloc that can rush. It's spot removal that Murloc decks just don't have. A lot of times to stop a Murloc deck, you just put like a 4/6 taunt in the way, and all of a sudden they have to run all their Murlocs into it. Well, now they have Fishy Flyer. You throw it out with a War Leader on the board, that's 6 damage rush. So it can get past those those taunts without having to put
multiple minions into it,
or something in your deck that doesn't synergize with Murlocs.
Right.
Also, putting a Toxfin on this, and all of a sudden it's a 4/3 rushing poisonous Murloc for 1 extra mana. So this card alone, I think, makes Murloc decks more viable than they have been ever in the past. Now all we need is a Murloc with taunt, and we'll be good.
All right. Next up, we have the Divine Rager. So, Ragers have been a thing in Hearthstone since the very beginning of the game.
And they're historically bad.
This one is a 4-mana 5/1 with Divine Shield.
This one is not as bad as any of the... This is the best Rager they've ever printed. I mean, there's a 3/1 for 3 mana that has Divine Shield. So this is literally power creep off that card. Now, is that card played? Not as much, not that much. But if having Divine Shield on a minion becomes prevalent, then maybe this goes in that deck. Yeah. And also, imagine Divine Rager and then throw 2 Librams of Wisdom on this thing. All of a sudden, it's a 7/3 with Divine Shield.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that playable? I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think it has more promise than any other Rager they've ever printed.
Okay. Next up, we have the Sneaky Delinquent. It's a 2-mana 3/1 stealth minion. Death Rattle. Add a 3/1 ghost with stealth to your hand.
It's just good. Stealth
mechanics are good in Rogue 2 mana 3/1 stealth. Yeah.
I take it. This is another good one of those Death Rattle synergies, Death Rattle mechanics that they have in this new set. I really like it.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have the Intrepid Initiate. It's a 1-mana 1/2 spell burst. Gain 2 attack. Didn't we have a 1-mana 1/2 back in GVG that when you played a mech, it got +2 attack?
When you played a mech, it got +1 attack. There was one that got +2 attack when you played a weapon.
Okay, maybe that's
had a weapon equipped. This is, a 1-mana 3/2 in most situations is just good. Again, in the right decks. I think this goes in an aggressive deck. I don't even think it goes in a tempo deck. Now, are the aggressive decks running enough spells to warrant this? Probably not something like Zoo, but maybe something like a token-based Druid that most of their minions are off of spells. So maybe that's the case. On the coin, this goes up in so much power because you just play this coin and then another 1-drop and boom. That's one of the biggest tempo turn 1s you could ever have.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Okay. That's it for the neutrals.
That is it for the neutrals. So, and we're about a little, maybe a quarter of the way through the slides.
Quarter of the way, yeah. So, moving into classes, we're going to start with the Warlock.
Huh?
We have a epic demon minion, the Void Drinker. It's a 5-mana 4/5 with Taunt and Battle Cry. Destroy a soul fragment in your deck to gain +3/+3. So, if we haven't
talked about soul fragments yet.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us about soul fragments?
So, there are a subset of cards that are in the Warlock and Demon Hunter class. So, we'll see Warlock cards, Demon Hunter cards, and Warlock Demon Hunter dual class cards that both benefit from destroying soul fragments in your deck or having soul fragments in your deck. And there are cards that shuffle soul fragments in your deck. I think every single one of them that shuffle 2. What a soul fragment is a 0-cost spell called a soul fragment. It's cast when drawn, restore 2 health to your hero. So a Warlock can tap into this, pay 2 health to draw from its hero power, and then immediately draws this, gains the 2 health back, and that satisfies the Warlock Priest synergy cards for gaining and losing health. And then on top of that, they basically negated the use of their hero power, and then when this goes off, it draws a card itself. Because cast when drawn, it plays a spell and then draws you another card. So it doesn't water down your deck either. So this is a neat mechanic, and it ends up being a 5-mana 7/8 in most cases.
Yeah, so soul fragments are a huge part of playing a warlock in World of Warcraft. I'm really glad to see them finally make their appearance in Hearthstone. And it's such a unique mechanic that not only this Void Drinker, but multiple other cards in this set, as we'll see, take advantage of this soul fragment system.
What I like about it is it plays differently in Warlock than it does Demon Hunter. Where in Warlock, it's all about the ebb and flow. Mm-hmm. You're using your health, then you're gaining your health. Then you're using your health, then you're gaining health. When you don't need to gain the health, you can utilize the fragments in your deck to do other really crazy stuff. Where Demon Hunter, it's more about getting these in there to kind of offset the extra face damage you're taking from using your hero power to as a removal tool against other minions.
Yeah.
So then you're just kind of banking that you draw into this. Now the downside for Demon Hunter is if you use Skull of Gul'dan and draw into this, it will draw this card, turn it to 1 cost basically, and then the cast when drawn will go off. It'll draw you another card, but it won't reduce that cost because this drew it, not the Skull of Gul'dan.
Right.
So there are some negative synergies with Skull of Gul'dan, but I don't think it means you don't play these cards. Yeah. It is, in my opinion, more powerful in Warlock than Demon Hunter, but it's still strong in Demon Hunter.
Okay. Moving on, we have a Warlock rare minion, the Shadowlight Scholar. It's a 3-mana, 3/4 minion, battle cry. Destroy a soul fragment in your deck to deal 3 damage.
So it's just 3 free damage. It can go face. Now, if you don't have a soul fragment in your deck, this battle cry won't go off.
Correct.
But if you do have a soul fragment in your deck, it will go off. You can't choose not to have it go off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next up, we have a Warlock spell, School Spirits. 3 mana, deal 2 damage to all minions. Shuffle 2 soul fragments into your deck.
So this is how you get the soul fragments into your deck. There are a couple cards. I think there's 3 total in Warlock. Don't quote me on that because I didn't count them. I'm just going off memory. But this is how you get the fragments in your deck.
Yeah. Then we have Demonic Studies. Now, we talked about this a couple episodes ago. Every class has a Studies card. That is a 1-mana spell, and it's a Discover. So, in this case, for Warlock, Demonic Studies, 1 mana, discover a demon. Your next one costs 1 less.
I don't think this is good because the demon pool is so full and not very good. Mm-hmm. And some of the demons you would want to get aren't in Warlock. They're actually Demon Hunter demons. Mm-hmm. So, and it's a Discover. So you're only going to get it from Warlock or neutral demons.
Right.
And this isn't a dual class card. This is just a Warlock card. Yeah. So I don't think it's good. Because I just don't think it's good. I just think it's a little too watered down. Now there could be some crazy combo. I don't know of any demons that reducing the cost by 1 would allow you to go off on a crazy combo or not. Yeah.
Okay.
That's my thought on it.
Next up, we have a Warlock Demon Hunter Legendary, dual class Legendary.
I first off, I can't wait to hear you try this name.
Sociologist Militia.
You have been practicing.
So, Sociologist Militia is a 7-mana, 5/5 battle cry. For each soul fragment in your deck, summon a 3/3 soul with Rush.
Now, this does not destroy the soul fragments.
Correct.
This is the only card that says that just does something based on the number, and that's it. So it counts how many soul fragments you have in the deck. It summons that many 3/3 souls with Rush, and then your soul fragment count doesn't change in your deck, which is good. I think Alec Dawson said that when they first did this, the stats might have been a little higher, and it destroyed all of the Soul Fragments, and then they were like, well, all the other Soul Fragment cards are dead in your deck.
Right.
And so they didn't really like that. So basically they balanced it out so that you had just as many Soul Fragment creating cards as you do Soul Fragment using cards. And since the creating ones put 2 in your deck, you're only ever going to use half of what you created with those cards. So if you don't draw them all symmetrically, it still can work. And then this card does a big effect without destroying any. And I think it's strong. I think it's stronger in Warlock than it is in Demon Hunter, because with Demon Hunter, you're already creating a bunch of small minions and probably even better than 3/3s early game. So in turn 7 is kind of a pivotal turn for Demon Hunter. You want to be winning the game. But in a slower based Warlock, I think this card is perfect.
All right, moving on. We have
and I want to say I love some of their linguistic gymnastics they're doing. They had Sociologist, and then we did last week Philosophy. Instead of Philosophy, it's Philosophy. I'm loving the flavor of this set.
All right, next up we have a Warlock Demon Hunter rare spell. This is Soul Shear. It's a 2 mana, deal 3 damage to a minion, shuffle 2 soul fragments into your deck.
This is what the bomb, not Spirit Bomb, but there was a Hell Bomb or something. It was 2 mana, deal 3 damage to a minion, and that was it. So it's good.
Yeah. So next up we have Warlock Demon Hunter minion, the Spirit Jailer. It's a 1 mana 1/3 demon. Battle cry, shuffle 2 soul fragments into your deck.
1 mana 1/3s are good.
Traditionally,
1 mana 1/3s with a creature type are usually great. 1 mana 1/3s with a creature type and text that's not negative is just fabulous. So this is a good card.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have a Demon Hunter minion, the Ancient Void Hound. This is an epic 9 mana 10/10 demon. At the end of your turn, steal 1 attack and health from all enemy minions.
Yeah.
I know for a fact I opened 2 of these.
I love the flavor of this card. I think it's too slow because on turn 9, what kind of an impact does that actually do? I don't think you clear a board with this.
How many Demon Hunters are still playing on turn 9?
They're not. And this, if this goes into a late game big Demon Hunter that maybe can find a way to cheat them out or put multiple big demons in one turnout, then maybe. But the thing I think some people are missing is, sure, it may not kill the minions, but it reduces the total attack by 1 per minion on your enemy's board. And it also puts a really big minion. This could be as much as 16, 17 if they have a full board.
Yeah.
So it now it might rob them of their lethal and present a counter lethal.
Yeah.
But is that good enough?
Right.
I don't know. And I don't think it is right now, but again, we don't know the new meta yet. This may be good enough.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see. And it's not a battle cry, so if you find a way to summon a demon from your deck or from your hand or just period, and this comes on the board, it happens at the end of your turn. It doesn't rely on a battle cry.
That's right.
So you don't have to invest the 9 mana into it to make this happen.
All right. Next up, we have a Demon Hunter rare minion, the Shard Shatter Mystic. It's a 3 mana 3/2 battle cry. Destroy a soul fragment in your deck to deal 3 damage to all other minions.
This is what I was talking about, where I think the soul fragment mechanic is better in Warlock than Demon Hunter, because this is a great effect. It would be better in Warlock. The fact that it's a 3 mana 3/2 that does this, usually Demon Hunter has minions on the board that they want to continue to pressure with. And to kill those minions off is a problem. Now, is this a tool for an aggressive Demon Hunter that's anti-aggression, meaning it stifles your opponent's aggression? Maybe you don't play anything on 1 and 2. You wait for your opponents to develop two health minions on turns 1 and 2, and then you play this, and then you can play your other minions. The question is that too slow for aggressive Demon Hunter? Do they really want to do that? And I think the answer is no. So I want it to be good, but I don't think it is.
Okay. Next up, we have a Demon Hunter common minion, the Soul Shard Lapidary. It's a 5-mana 5/5 battle cry. Destroy a soul fragment in your deck to give this hero, or to give your hero, +5 attack this turn.
Yeah, I just don't think it's good.
Yeah.
There's so many other better ways to get high attack, and this I don't. Again, too slow.
Okay. Then we have a new Demon Hunter weapon, the Marrow Slicer. It's a 4-mana 4/2 battle cry. Shuffle 2 soul fragments into your deck.
So this is a true silver champion for Demon Hunter.
Yes, it is.
Because it's a 4-mana 4/2 that will eventually gain you a total of 4 health.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's good. True silver champion is played in very many different styles of paladin, from control paladins to aggressive paladins to combo paladins. So Marrow Slicer's just it might even be a 5-star card. I think it's just good. It goes in every Demon Hunter deck.
Is True Silver Champion a rare?
I believe it. No, I think it's a basic card.
Okay, maybe a basic card. I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I play it a lot.
Yeah,
it might be rare.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We have a Demon Hunter spell, Fell Guardians. So this is a 7-mana. Summon 3 1/2 demons with taunt. Costs 1 less whenever a friendly minion dies. Now, we actually saw this in the Creparian Alec Dawson event because Chalky was able to play this card for like 3 mana because he had held it in his opening hand and minions had died, and he was able to summon 3 1/2 taunts for like 3 mana.
Yeah, but is that good?
Depends on the situation.
Yeah, I mean, in something like Druid, that has that buffing synergies and stuff, maybe. Now, maybe in a token-based Demon Hunter where you're benefiting from your minions dying, sure, maybe, but I don't know if that deck exists or has enough tools yet. Again, we have to remember Demon Hunter is a fairly new class.
Yeah.
So it hasn't gotten as many tools as other classes. So this might be a card that we see at the beginning of next year once we have a couple more sets in Demon Hunter and it start to shine. I just don't think it's there now.
So let's talk about this next card, which
personally... And just to answer your previous question, True Silver Champion is a basic card. You get it just for playing the game.
Okay. So let's talk about this next card because personally I believe this may be the best Demon Hunter card coming in this set. And that is it's a common spell called Double Jump. 1 mana, draw an Outcast card from your deck. So you were just saying Demon Hunter's a new class with limited resources. Outcast is one of those resources where you can control what Outcast cards are in your deck. This allows you to target draw an Outcast card from your deck.
Yeah, remember how Outcast works. If you draw it from your deck, it's immediately on the right side of your hand.
Yes.
Therefore, it's getting its Outcast effect. Now, this doesn't have to be Outcast.
Correct.
This can be anywhere in your hand. But it will draw you a card, a specific card, that then can be Outcast. You could play this on 7. Play Double Jump, and then draw your Skull of Gul'dan, and immediately be able to play your Skull of Gul'dan. In the Outcast position. The only thing that limits this is at what point what's the perfect count for Outcast? Because if you want to target specific Outcast cards, you only put like 2-3 Outcasts in there. Well, if you draw those before your Double Jump, then it's a dead card. We've seen this with Corsair Cache. A lot of Corsair Cache lists only run like 3 weapons. If you draw those 3 weapons, then Corsair Cache is a dead card. Mm-hmm. So,
but it doesn't stop Corsair Cache from getting run.
Yeah. And for that same reason, I think this is better than Corsair Cache because A, it's 1 mana, and B, there's more viable outcast cards than there are viable weapons in Warrior right now. So do I think that lessens the value of this card? No, because there are lots of really good outcast cards because it's the core mechanic for Demon Hunter. Right. And those outcast cards are also basic cards, so they're not going to be rotating out at the end of the year.
Correct. All right, next up we have the Valvine Trainer. This is another common minion. It's a 4-mana 5/4 outcast, summon 2 1/1 demons.
4-mana 5/4 just great stats.
Mm-hmm.
It's aggressive. The kind of blanket, the vanilla stats we're talking about, it's like a Yeti, and it's a 4-mana 4/5. Well, in Demon Hunter, you want more aggressive stats, so 5/4 is perfect there. And then if you outcast this, you get 2/2 worth of stats and 2 different minions. It's just good.
Yeah, if this is in your opening hand and you're going second, you can play, if this is on the, left side, you can play this on turn 3 with a coin. And
yeah, if I'm playing a tempo Demon Hunter and I see this in my far left hand in my mulligan, I'm tempted to keep it, especially if I want the coin, because I know it's going to be outcast no matter when. Now, could it stifle other outcast cards on the right side? Yeah, but you're probably not going to need those outcast cards before turn 4 anyways.
Yeah. So, all right, moving on. We're on to some Demon Hunter dual class cards. And first up, we have the True Aim Crescent. This is a epic weapon, 1 mana 1/4. After your hero attacks a minion, your minions attack it too.
Yeah, so we saw this a little bit. I saw this a little bit in some of the theory crafting, and it was very effective. Now, I think it's less effective in Demon Hunter because you really don't want those low health demons to necessarily die, when attacking with this weapon. However, I think it's really good in something like a quest-based hunter, because you want to put a lot of token minions out. You want them to go ahead and die to open up board space for more minions so you can eventually unlock your quest, which is summon 20 minions. Mm-hmm. So I think in a quest-based hunter, this is a great weapon. 1 mana, 1 attack weapons with any kind of effect are historically good in hunter. We've seen some that you're immune during your attack. We've seen some that give pluses to minions. So I think that one mana 1/4 weapon, where historically in other classes might not work well, in Hunter they do. Also in Demon Hunter, do you really want to have a 1 mana 1/4 weapon when you could be having a more effective weapon there that might have lifesteal or other things? I don't know. So I think it's good. I think it's a solid inclusion in most Demon Hunter decks, but I think in a Quest Hunter it becomes an all-star card.
Yeah. Next up, we have a Demon Companion. This is a 1 mana rare Demon Hunter spell that summons a random Demon Companion. So again, we saw this card in the thing, and Alec Dawson actually talked quite a bit about it. This is a version of Animal Companion that summons demons, but they're not quite as big as their animal compatriots.
And all of the names are anagrams of Huffer, Leok, and Misha.
Yeah, I think it was Sherma was the taunt.
The Shima, I think is what it was. And then there was like Keol, and then I think the Huffer was Refa.
Yeah.
But it's instead of a 4/2 a charge minion, I think it's a 2/1 charge minion.
Yeah.
And then the Leok version is I think it's a 2/2 that gives all other minions +1 attack, and then
the taunt is a 2/2 as well.
Is a 2/2. So I could get the stats a little off. I don't remember, but yeah, it's for 1 mana, it's good.
Yeah, and then we have a common minion, the Blood Herald. This is a 5 mana 1/1. Whenever a friendly minion dies while this is in your hand, gain +1/+1. Now, Alec told a story during the broadcast that while they were playtesting this in-house internally, they had to adjust it multiple times because there were times they would have like a 20/20 Blood Herald in their hand.
Yeah. Now, I'm saying this about a lot of the dual class cards, and you hear me say this a lot later, especially when we get to Paladin dual class cards. Some of the dual class cards favor one class over the other, where then the other side of it favors that other class again. So I think in this case, we are favoring Hunter again.
Yeah.
I would like to see Demon Hunters run this, but I think at 5 mana, regardless how big this gets, I don't think it gets big enough to have something that doesn't impact the board. You have minions at 5 mana that also do damage when you attack and lots of other effective things, or they grow bigger. Right. Also, how often are you making sure your minions are dying? Obviously, your opponent's got to kill them, but how often do you make sure they're dying? The kind of sacrificial Demon Hunter hasn't really gestated and been created yet. If it is, this might be good. However, again, in Quest Hunter, you want your minions to hit the board, die, so you have room to do more minions so they can die. So eventually you get that new hero power. And to be able to have a lot of minions out with a lot of attack and then slap down a big 20/20 or something because of all those sacrificial minions you played earlier, this is great in Quest Hunter. And I think on turn 5, you could have this upwards of like an Edwin 8/8, 10/10.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We have our Hunter Legendary Professor Slate. So it's a 3 mana, 3/4. Your spells are poisonous. This is an ability we haven't seen before.
Yeah, we haven't. And here's it's almost a trap because, and I've had a lot of people tell me this card was really good, and I don't think it is. But I think they put a really cool ability on a good body. A 3 mana 3/4 is great. People say, hey, 3 mana 3/4, I'm just going to play that. Who cares what the stats say? That isn't always the case. Your spells have poisonous. How many spells are you really putting in a Hunter? I mean, you have Arcane Shot. You have the shot that does one and with the twin spell, but there aren't a lot of damage-based spells that you're going to play that you would justify putting this in the deck.
What do you think about in Wild, where you actually have a Spell Hunter archetype?
Yeah, but this is a minion. Do you want to put a minion in a Spell Hunter deck? Because that deck has a lot of... You would have to take the Rock Delar out of the deck. It has a lot of synergies with not having minions in it at all. So, I mean, maybe you do cut those spell-specific ones and rely more heavily on the hero card. But I still don't know if it's good enough. Now, if they had more minions that generated spells, so maybe next set they put out beasts that give you a random damage spell, I don't know. I just don't think there's enough spells. Plus, in a deck that does have a lot of spells in it, you want a lot of that damage to go face. You don't want it to clear minions.
I do want to point out, this is the second Professor we have in Hunter. You also have Putricide. So maybe they're running a Professor archetype. They're building up to it slowly.
I think this is the card Professor Putricide wanted to be. It's better than Professor Putricide. Mm-hmm. And I don't think this is a bad card. I just don't think it has enough tools to be in a deck yet. This might be one of those 6-set cards where we see it and go, it's not enough for it. Then when we have 6 sets in the meta, boom, all of a sudden something comes out like, the Holy Wrath Paladin or the Uther OTK Paladin decks that it got enough tools in that 6 set that it dominates the meta from December to April. I just think that keep an eye on this card. I wouldn't necessarily dust it. I don't dust cards anyways, but you might have a use for this later.
Okay, moving on, we have a Hunter Epic Minion. It's the Krolisk Bark Stripper. It's a 4 mana 3/5 beast Spell Burst, destroy a random enemy minion.
It's got Deadly Shot as a spell burst.
Yeah,
yes,
which is
put it in your deck.
Just good.
I mean, just put it in your deck. You play this, then you're tracking for a tool that you need, and then it just kills something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is good. This is good.
It's real good.
All right, moving on. We have a rare hunter minion, the Bloated Python. This is a 3-mana 1/2 Death Rattle. Summon a 4/4 Hapless Handler.
I've seen a lot of mixed reviews on this.
I like to refer to this as the card that Crip misplayed.
Yeah, it's good. It's a 3-mana 1/2. Yeah, it's low stats, but it creates a 4/4. So you have 5/6 in stats in 3 mana. We already played the 2-mana 5/4 demon that's dormant for 2 turns and then attacks. It's basically the same mana distribution. 3 mana 5/6 or 2 mana 5/4 that randomly attacks after 2 turns. So we play that card. Why wouldn't we play this? And plus, it has some kind of beast synergies. It has Death Rattle synergies for if there's a Death Rattle build. I don't know if there's enough
give this
tools for that
+2/+2 and taunt with
But yeah, if you run that card, it was it Animal Handler? No, I don't even remember anymore. I think it's good. If there's a beast synergistic, which we saw the legendary dual class already. I don't think we have it this set. We've already reviewed her. She has that Kelphazod ability that buffs all the beasts in your deck.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe this turns into a 3-mana 2/3, and then it's probably better. There's also the ones that grab a beast out of your deck and give it +2/+2. So now all of a sudden it's a 3-mana 3/4.
Right.
I think it's good in that deck.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have a rare hunter spell, Overwhelm. It's a 1-mana, deal 2 damage to a minion, deal 1 more damage for each beast you control.
I don't like it. I think it's spot removal and takes a card slot that you could utilize just a better beast in its place.
I will give Overwhelm this, though.
Art is wonderful.
Best golden art I've seen so far.
It's got these little Wapeltingers, which we'll see in the next slide, and they're just chewing. Their mouths actually move, and they're chewing on all the wood. It's so cute.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of the Wapeltinger, it's a 1-mana 1/1 beast battle cry. Summon a copy of this.
It's good.
They just multiply.
At worst, it's an alley cat.
Yes. And alley cat got played all the time.
Alley cat got played all the time. And if you found a way to buff alley cat in your hand, it only ever summoned a 1/1. If you can buff this in your hand or draw it and buff it, then it could be a 1-mana 3/3 that summons another 3/3.
Ooh. Remember the OTK
Hunter?
boar? But you run this and that broom, broom that gives them rush.
You take that boar hunter kind of shell.
Yeah.
You take out all the kind of fluff that was the combo, and then you just fill it with Quest Hunter.
Yeah.
And boom.
Yeah.
This is great Quest Hunter. It's 1 mana to acquire 2 of your ticks on your quest, and it also could be bodies that could be buffed.
Right. All right. Moving on, we have Carrion Studies, which is the 1-mana common spell. Discover a Death Rattle minion. Your next one costs 1 less.
I haven't looked at the pool of Death Rattles to find out if this is advantageous enough to run. But I want to say in a token-based strategy or quest hunter, this was probably good because it's 1 mana, it pays for itself, and it generates a card that can be used towards whatever you need, whether it's a good Death Rattle, bad Death Rattle. It really doesn't matter. It's something extra. Is it worth a card slot? I think in that deck, yes. but in other hunter decks, is there a Death Rattle hunter that could come out with the new meta? I don't think it has enough tools. Again, I think we're going to talk about 6-set meta again with that style of card. You need more tools in the tool shed for a deck like that, and I don't think there's enough tools. I think if you made a deck like that right now, you could possibly get it tier 2 if you're lucky, probably tier 3, but it's maybe something we start working on now, and we finish the tools in the 6th set coming in December, which those are some of the strongest decks and kind of oppressive decks you ever see. Some of the most oppressive Hearthstone is played from December to April because they have the most tools.
Yes. Yeah. All right, moving on. We have the Hunter Druid dual class cards. And we start with Guardian Animals. This is an epic spell, 7 mana. Summon 2 beasts that cost 5 or less from your deck. Give them Rush.
When we get to Druid, we're going to find ways to break this card, which we'll talk about. In Hunter, there's nothing very obvious. You might get a Teacher's Pet. There are some 5-cost minions that might be good to get out, but it's going to be good tempo, but it's not going to break the game. And because it's not going to break the game at 7 mana, I don't think it's worth playing in Hunter. But in Druid, this is going to be a very powerful card, possibly resulting in nerfs.
Okay.
I don't think this card gets nerfed, but I think that cards that are associated with this card gets nerfed.
Okay. Speaking of Teacher's Pet, it is a Hunter Druid minion, rare minion. 5 mana, 4/5 taunt, Death Rattle, summon a random 3-cost beast.
So it's Mount Seller with 1 tick.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good. 3-cost beasts, people say, well, I don't know if 3-cost beasts are good enough before Mount Seller started going off. And then they found out there's a lot of rush minions at 3 mana, especially in the beast pool. There's a lot of Death Rattle minions in the beast pool. There are a lot of really disruptive taunts in the beast pool. There's just really strong 3-mana beasts. And this summons a random one. Could be from any class. It's not a discover, so it's not necessarily from your class or neutral. It's any class. So because Mount Seller was good, I think this is going to be good.
Okay. Next up, we have a Hunter Druid common spell, Adorable Infestation. 1 mana, give a minion +1/+1, summon a 1/1 cub, add a cub to your hand.
Yeah, and the cubs are 1 mana 1/1s, adorable art, absolutely adorable. In a token hunter, I think it's really good. I don't think there's a token druid that would utilize this, but if token druid, which has been a thing before, comes back again, this might be useful. But I think that in a quest hunter, it's just a good card.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We have a Druid legendary, Forest Warden Omu. It's a 6 mana 5/4 spell burst. Refresh your mana crystals. So, I mean,
it's going to break wild.
You play this, and then you play
Innervate. You just play Innervate.
And you refresh your mana crystals, and you have 7 mana on turn 6.
You play Innervate, and then you play more ramp cards. This is a strong tempo druid, and in wild, it breaks the game. I think somebody calculated in wild, with already the other tools that they have for mana cheat, you can have upwards of a 31 mana turn.
Jeepers.
On turn, I think it was like on turn 6 you could pull this off.
Oh man.
Or it might have been 6 mana, so like turn 3 or 5. It's ridiculous, but yeah, it's gonna break wild. But Druid is going to be really strong this set, both in standard and wild.
Okay. All right. Moving on, we have a Druid rare spell called Partner Assignment. It's a 1 mana, add a random 2 cost and 3 cost beast to your hand.
It's not good because it adds it to your hand. You still have to pay the mana cost. So it ends up being a total of 6 mana for 5 mana worth of value. Also, in a spell-based druid, it kind of wrecks the spell synergy cards that count if you have spells in your hand or not. I just don't think it's good.
Although on turn one, this gives you curve play.
Yeah, but the problem is on turn 1 you're wanting to set up your mana curve play. You know, on turn 2 and 3 you want to be ramping, so you don't want to be playing minions.
Okay, moving on, we have a rare minion, the Twilight Runner. He's a 5 mana 5/4 beast with stealth. Whenever this attacks, draw 2 cards.
So this is UI coupled with the 7 mana spell Guardian Animals. You Guardian Animals summon 2 of these. They both attack, and you draw 4 cards.
Oh wow!
This is the card everybody is wanting nerfed. They just want it to go to 6 mana so it can't be summoned off Guardian Animals, or Guardian Animals reduced down to cost 4 or less. Yeah, there were a lot of people up in arms about Twilight Runner, and I think Twilight Runner gets nerfed. And I honestly think they push for a nerf. Twilight Runner gets nerfed to be like
6
mana. 4/4. No, I think it gets nerfed to being like a 4/4 or a 4/3 and lower stats, and it still doesn't fix the situation.
The problem, yeah.
It's one of those that Blizzard says, well, we want this to happen. It's just too impactful, so we'll just lower the stats. And then the players go, no, the stats aren't the problem.
Right.
It's similar to what happened with the Demon Hunter, where they had to nerf multiple times because the nerfs weren't
targeting the problem. Yeah.
They were softening the problem, not
fixing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have the Gibberling. It's a 1 mana 1/1 common minion. Spell burst. Summon a Gibberling.
I can't remember who I saw do this in the theory crafting. I think it might have been Pheno. Is it Pheno or RDU? I can't remember who it was. But they got a board full of buffed 2/2 Gibberlings out on turn 2.
Oh, wow.
There were something like 5 or 6 minions on the board on turn 2. And they were all 2/2 or 3/3 in stats. It was sick. I love my favorite emote from Regis Kilbin is he has a Gibberer emote. I love this card. I'm probably crafting this in golden. I'm glad it's a common for that reason. The golden, actually, I only have to craft one because I got one in golden.
Okay.
The entire cage shakes. Not just a Gibberer inside. The entire cage shakes in the art on the golden. It's absolutely awesome.
That's cool. Next up, we have the Druid Shaman legendary Speaker Ghidra. It's a 3 mana 1/4 rush and Wind Fury with Spell Burst, gain attack and health equal to the spell's cost. So this is one of the legendaries I opened. We've been talking about mid to late game cards. This one, you play Speaker Ghidra, then you play a 3, 4, or 5 mana spell behind her, and she gains +3/3, +4/4, +5/5, depending on the spell. What are your thoughts?
Everybody's breaking their heads over this, and I don't understand it. They're like, yeah, you get a huge Rush Wind Fury minion. It's great board clear. Yeah, but if you do it on turn 8, right, is a 6/4 Rush Wind Fury enough?
It's not a 6/4.
Not 6/4. A 6/9 Rush Wind Fury. Is it enough? And I just don't.
Enough to clear some threats, absolutely.
Sure, clear some. I don't know.
And depending on and you've got to remember, you have to take into account whatever the spell's effect was too.
I just think in Shaman and Druid, and Druid is probably going to be ramp or draw, so it's not really going to impact the board. And in Shaman, it's probably going to be damage, so they might have a little more effect. I don't know. I'm just not seeing this is a good card. If it had a way to get Divine Shield, if it had a way, I don't know what could make this card good in my eyes. But everybody's loving this card. I'm just not seeing it.
Make it a Paladin card?
I am likely now. If it was a Paladin card, maybe, because then you have some other buffs that could be going on. You're not doing a lot of buffing minions from your hand with a spell in Druid, and not any substantial in Shaman. Maybe +1/+1. I don't know. I am fully ready to be wrong on this card, but I don't think it's a good card. I think it's a hyped card. I think people play it right out the gate, and then it gets cut.
Next up, we have a Druid Shaman epic spell, Runic Carvings. This is a 6 mana, choose one, summon 4 2/2 Treant totems, or overload 2 to summon them with Rush.
Okay, so I think this is better in Shaman because they have more synergies with totems specifically, where Treants are just kind of a type of minion. You don't really have too much that's very Treant focused. It's not even a minion type. However, it has been clarified that if you use this with the Druid quest, after it's completed, you will get 7 2/2s with Rush.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, no. You'll get 7 2/2s, and 4 will have Rush. Like 3 or 4 will. Half of them will have Rush, the other ones won't.
Okay, that's interesting.
I can't remember where the breakpoint is, but it's like it summons 4 Treants, and then it summons 4 with Rush.
Okay.
It's not.
So if it's playing both, then it's probably going to summon 4 2/2s and then summon another 3 2/2s with Rush.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. But a lot of people thought, well, this isn't good in Quest Druid because you're just going to get 4 with Rush. No, it actually summons a total of 7 totem trees.
Yeah,
so.
that's not bad for 6 mana.
Which, sure, but do you need that many? You're going to have that much space on your board in that style of deck? I don't know. I think it's going to be better in Shaman because there are the axe that doubles your totems. There's a lot of spells that buff totems and duplicate totems. There's a lot of totem synergies that I think these will go into.
Okay. Next up, we have the Shaman Legendary Instructor Fireheart. It's a 3 mana 3/3 battle cry. Discover a spell that costs 1 or more. If you play it this turn, repeat this effect.
So everybody's like going crazy. Oh, I'm going to be able to play a spell. Just go crazy with lightning bolts with this.
It's 1 or more.
1 or more. So you might not get a low cost.
You might get a 3 or a 5, or you could get Runic Carvings at 6.
Do you notice it says discover a spell that costs 1 or more and doesn't say just discover a spell?
Right.
You know why, right?
Why?
Lightning Bloom.
Ah, yeah.
It doesn't want you to go Instructor Fireheart, Lightning Bloom, Lightning Bloom, Lightning Bloom, and then play a Malagos and then burn their face. It doesn't want you to do that.
Right.
So I find that comical that they printed a card that would make them modify another card like this, but I don't think it's that strong. I think it's 2 variants. Now, it is Discover, so you do get the pick, but how many times have we had the Dragon Lackey, and then we got 3 9-mana dragons?
Yeah.
A lot. It happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not likely, and there's a lot of very high-cost, not good spells in Shaman that she could discover. So again, this suffers from it being in Shaman. If it was in something like Demon Hunter where they have less spells, it might be a better card. But in Shaman, I don't think the magical funtime lands happen. Sure, Trollden's going to have videos where this goes off, but I don't see it happening that often.
Okay. Next up, we have a rare shaman spell, Molten Blast. It's a 3 mana, deal 2 damage, summon that many 1/1 elementals.
Yeah, it's good to note this damage can go face.
And it can be affected by spell damage minions.
And when it says that many, that's because it's expecting it to be increased by spell damage. And Shaman's a place where spell damage is going to be. So this might be a playable. There aren't a lot of elemental synergies right now in the meta. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that really matters. Also, do you want to fill your board with a bunch of 1/1 elementals that stifle your growth of your other minions like totems?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would say no. But I honestly think if this is 3 mana, deal 2 damage, it's better than summoning the elementals.
Yeah.
So I guess one would say that makes it an even better card than the 3 mana deal 2 damage. So I don't know. I think it goes in decks. I don't think summoning the 1/1 elementals matters, and I think it might hinder more than it helps.
Okay. Next up, speaking of spells that cost 1 or more, we have a common shaman spell, Tidal Wave. It's 8 mana, life steal, deal 3 damage to all minions. This sounds like an oh crap button.
So Ignatius, a friend of the show, streamer, I'm sure he's listening. He went crazy over the card art on this. He says most of these cards are telling a story, telling a lore of Hearthstone and World of Warcraft. What is this card? It's a troll that is using what looks to be like a door as like a surfboard. It's going down the hallways of, yeah. He's like, I want to know what story this is telling. The art on it's great. I love seeing it in gold. I don't think I've seen it yet. It's just expensive, and at 8 mana, does dealing 3 damage to the board really impactful? Now, you could think with other spell damage increasers, you have totems, you have the next weapon we'll be talking about, you could have this doing 4 damage. Now, we've seen a 7 mana 4 damage board clear that's very effective in Flame Strike, and this has lifesteal.
Right.
If you can consistently manage +1 spell damage on turn 8 with no extra mana invested, this might be good.
If your opponent has board advantage and you only have a couple of minions, this could be a full heal as well.
It could. I mean, we've seen Hagatha get played just for the battle cry.
Correct.
So, and she was an 8 mana hero card that gave you 5 armor and did 3 damage to all minions on the board. This effectively does more than that. Obviously, it doesn't give you the hero power, but the hero power is kind of negligible when you used her anyways. Yeah. So, I think if you're going to run a Control Shaman, this gets played. Is Control Shaman good enough to be played? We don't know yet. Right. Do I think it's a 2 of? Maybe not.
No, I can see this being a 1 of.
But I think it gets included in a Control Shaman, and I think Control Shaman might have the tools this go round.
Okay. Next up, we have a Shaman weapon, Rune Dagger. It's a common, 2 mana, 1/3. After your hero attacks, gain spell damage +1 this turn.
So we've seen this effect in the it was a Hunter Legendary that gave you a weapon that when you attack you got +2 spell damage. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people said in a different class this might be a broken legendary because there just wasn't enough spells that did damage in Hunter that even mattered. In Shaman it matters, and I think this card is really good and guarantees you having spell damage on top of the fact that 25% of the time at minimum your totem summon could have spell damage. So you could on any given turn have +2 spell damage with just the activation of your totem and swinging this to face. It's a good card. I think it goes in most, if not all, Shaman lists right now, except maybe the totem, the straight up totem Shaman, because only 1 weapon's needed in that. But other than that, I think it's just a good card.
Okay. Next up, we have a Shaman Mage minion, rare minion, the Trick Totem. This is a 2-mana 0/3. At the end of your turn, cast a random spell that costs 3 or less.
This totem tricks you into thinking it's good. This could be 2 mana to play a 0/3 totem that kills itself at the end of turn.
Yep.
It could be, and it's a random spell, so it could be any spell. It could be a 2 mana 0/3 totem that makes itself an 8/11 totem at the end of a turn.
Yeah.
So you don't know. I mean, it's not a random shaman spell. It's a random spell. So just this, yeah. Somewhere Versika is crying and he doesn't know why. Because not only is this crazy randomness, it's in his favorite class.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Shaman Mage Studies card. So it's 1 mana, discover a spell, discover a spell damage minion.
Yes.
Your next one costs 1 less.
There are good spell damage minions.
There is a spell damage minion, I think, on the next slide that is a 1 mana spell damage minion.
2 slides, but you could also get Blood Mage. You could also get Blood Mage Stalnos off this. There's a lot of there's some bad high costed ones, but for the most part, most of your spell damage, the spell damage minion pool is much smaller than like random spell or random death rattle minion or random dragon. That this makes this card good because I think they said I think somebody did the math. It might have been Blister Guy that 72% of your options are just good or great, and there's less than a third that's bad.
Yeah, and
that's a reason to play this card.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We have the Mage rare minion Wormweaver. It's a 5 mana 3/6 with Spell Burst. Summon 2 1/3 mana worms. Now, we saw this card get played as a tempo play in Crip's game against Chalky, and it really kind of turned the tide for him. What do you think about this card?
I think it's sneaky good. I think if you're running a true tempo mage, now there's a lot of people coming out with tempo mage builds in quotes that are actually a combo mage. It's using tempo tools to set up an in-game combo that gives you almost infinite damage. There's no such thing as infinite damage in Hearthstone, but close to endless damage if you can pull it off. That to me is not a tempo mage. There are some tempo mage lists that I think this goes in that's really good. You put out minions that create other minions that get stronger with more spells, and you use those spells to build the tempo. Now you have a 3/6, and then the mana worms they summon are the same mana worms that are in the basic set. They were 1 mana 1/3s before, but now they were nerfed to 2 mana 1/3s. I think this is good. I think this is really good, and in a tempo deck could really turn the tide. Also, a 3/6 body for 5. That's solid.
Yeah, yeah. Next up, we have a rare mage spell, Cram Session. 2 mana, draw 1 card. Improved by spell damage. We've talked a lot about spell damage in this set. So, I mean, at minimum, this is 2 mana, draw 1 card. Could be 2 mana, draw 2 cards. 2 mana, draw 3 cards. What do you think?
So, this is the time to go to the next slide and talk about the next card.
Okay, going to the next slide. Lab Partner. It's a common mage minion. It's a 1 mana 1/3, spell damage +1.
What did I say about 1 mana 1/3s?
1 mana 1/3s are just good.
Are just good. 1 mana 1/3s with positive text are amazing.
Yeah.
So you play this on 1. It's going to be difficult for your opponent to deal with on 1. They're probably going to have to use the coin if they do deal with it. And then on turn 2, it's 2 mana, draw 2
from Cram Session. Yeah,
1 cheaper than Arcane Intellect, right? Because that's 3 mana, draw 2.
Yeah.
So you take Arcane Intellect out of your Tempo Mage list, you put in Lab Partner and a Cram Session, and then later in the game, you might get more. Now, do I think that the numbers of spell damage goes up as high as in Shaman on any normal turn? No, I don't think spell damage on a tempo-based turn gets very high. You might get +2 at the most in Mage. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm talking about a tempo mage. I'm not talking about that ridiculous combo mage, which we'll talk about in a couple more slides. And I think we've already talked about the mage minion before that gets bigger every spell you play. So that's not the mage I'm talking about. I'm talking about just a regular tempo mage. +2 is probably the best you're going to get. So getting 2 cards out of Cram Session is just good value.
Yeah.
And with this Lab Partner, it's great value.
Yes. Next up, we have a Mage Common Minion, the Firebrand. It's a 3 mana, 3/4. We've seen that before. With Spell Burst, deal 4 damage, randomly split among all enemy minions.
So this is not a trap. This is a good 3 mana, 3/4 statted minion. It has a great ability.
For those who have been around a while, this will remind them of Flame Waker in every sense of the word. This is so Flame Waker dealt 2 damage, split among all enemy minions, or I guess all enemies, so it could go face for every spell cast. So Spell Burst is a one-time effect that deals 4 damage.
This is actually a more reliable Flame Waker in a tempo deck, because you want to be hitting minions during those mid-game turns because you're trying to build tempo. Mm-hmm. So you've developed tempo with the 3/4 minion. You played another, probably a low-cost spell, and then you've used that extra damage off the Spell Burst to hopefully clear a minion orb 2 against an aggressive lineup. So, I mean, this is good. In a tempo mage, this new tempo mage that's going to come out, I believe, is going to be very good on the coin because it's going to utilize that coin as a spell burst mechanic to then even get more tempo, which a lot of tempo decks don't want to be on the coin because right there you're losing tempo. Yeah. You want to be on the play, but I think the tempo mage actually does better on the coin.
Okay. Moving on, we have the Mage Rogue legendary minion, Jandis Barov. She's a 5 mana, 2/1 battle cry. Summon 2 random 5-cost minions. Secretly pick one that dies when it takes damage.
Yeah, Jandis and Khadgar drinking buddies. They hang out at the club at night. I would love to, for 7 mana, just play those 2 side by side and just fill my board up with shenanigans. I think at Rogue, she's really good. You couple her with Shadow Steps. You could even Shadow Step the 5-drop that you had to pick. Yeah. And now you got a good 5-drop. So now they are 2 random 5-drops, which means you can be outside of your class distribution and you don't have as much control if it's not a Discover, but 5 mana for a 2/1 and 2 5-drops?
And I mean, it's important to note that your opponent is not going to know which one is going to die when it takes damage. So they're going to either A, ping possibly the wrong minion, hoping it dies, or at best, waste removal on the one that was going to die anyway.
Yeah, and Crip kind of talked about this in the reveal stream, saying that he loves these kind of cards because it puts the agency on your opponent to be a good player and outplay your decision-making on which one you decide is the one that you want to choose. Now, one thing to remember is you're going to play her, she's going to summon 2 minions, then you're going to get a 2-card Discover. You want to pick the one that you want to die.
Yeah.
Not the one you don't want to die. So people are going to make that wrong choice out the gate, I'm sure, the first week or so. But you might get a death rattle minion. So you're like, yeah, let that die because I want the death rattle effect. The teacher's pet is a 5-mana minion, and it summons a 3-cost. So yeah, make that the one that gets pinged and died. You can play mind games where you go, well, that's the obvious pick. Maybe my opponent will waste a ping or waste a spell on it, so I put it on the other one. So there's different levels of play on it. I like this card for that reason. Is it going to be really good? I don't know. I know Ridiculous Hat is going crazy over this card, and I can't wait to see what he does with it.
Yeah.
Which it'll probably be in Rogue. That he
All right, moving on. We have Mage Rogue epic spell, the Potion of Illusion. This is a 4-mana. Add 1/1 copies of your minions to your hand. They cost 1. We've seen cards with similar effects before.
This is another card that is going to result in a nerf. Maybe not to this card, but in a nerf to something.
Yeah.
So you play 2 Sorcerer's Apprentices. Now this is 2 mana.
Yep.
You play it. Now you have 2 1-cost Sorcerer's Apprentices in your hand. And then you can play those 2. And if you have a second copy of this, now it's free. And then you get 4 1/1 Sorcerer's Apprentices in your hand, ready for Antonites.
Oh, that's just, that's ugly. Yeah.
You can also get this out and find a way to play it on Antonitis, and now you have a 1-cost Antonitis.
Yeah. All right.
This card is going to break people.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot else to say about that card. It's just
and in Rogue it's good too. That was a stage. I'm only halfway through. In Rogue, it's also very good. I'm actually kind of side working on a Obelisk Rogue deck that gets the Obelisk out, which is I think it's a 5-mana 0/5. That when you have 3 of them in play, they do 5 damage each.
Okay.
So you use these to get a bunch of them 1-cost in your hand and in doing things like Shadow Steps as well. And then you can fill your board with the obelisks and OTK your opponent. There's that. So, yeah, this card is going to have nerf around it. I don't think it gets nerfed, but I think something around it gets nerfed.
Yeah. All right, next up we have Brain Freeze, which is a Mage Rogue rare spell. 1 mana, freeze a minion, combo, also deal 3 damage to it.
I think it's got value in Mage as just a 1-cost minion, 1-cost spell, period.
Uh-huh.
It can be reduced and just put in a chain of other spells. I don't think other than that, I just don't think it's good.
Don't think Rogue has any reason to freeze a minion?
I mean, I don't think freeze a minion is going to help Rogue.
Not even as maybe, foregoing the combo part of it, but using it as a combo activator? To stall an attack or something?
There's better 1-cost combo activators.
Okay.
That don't have to be a spell. They could be a minion.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think this is free. If this was freeze a target, freeze a character, then the value would go up. You can freeze your opponent's face, preventing weapon attack. You can do an extra 3 damage with it. Maybe there's some crazy Malygos shenanigans in Rogue that comboed with this does 3, but then it's just a Sinister Strike.
Yeah.
And see, well, you can't combo this on face anyways because it says also deal 3 damage to it, meaning it has to still be a minion.
Right.
So no, there's not Malygos shenanigans with it. So yeah, I just don't think it's. I think there might be a place in Mage, but there's other 1-cost spells that might be better. I mean, it's another Ray of Frost.
Yeah.
So in Mage, it's probably got more use. In Rogue, I don't think it's good.
Okay. Next up, we have Rogue rare minion, the Shifty Sophomore. It's a 4-mana 4/4 stealth, spell burst, add a combo card to your hand. I mean,
Spellburst on a stealth minion just means you're probably getting that Spellburst.
right. And we've seen a 4-mana 4/4 stealth before, and that is just random. It's a 4-mana 4/4 stealth is good. It's going to be around,
and most of these Spellburst minions, you basically have to say add an extra cost to the mana to be able to pull the Spellburst off the turn you play it, because it's probably not going to survive a turn. But this one might, because it's got stealth.
Right.
Rogue runs stealth minions now. They run a 3/1 stealth that often lives to the next turn because nobody techs to kill stealth minions.
Yeah. Then we've got a new rogue weapon, the Self-Sharpening Sword. 3 mana, 1/4. After your hero attacks, gain 1 attack. So it starts as a 1/4, then you attack and it becomes a 2/3. Then you attack, it becomes a 3/2. Then you attack, it becomes a 4/1.
I'm not sold. I know there's a lot of rogue fanatics. Again, I am not a rogue player. It's probably one of my worst classes. But Ridiculous Hat and Edelweiss are going crazy over this card. And mathematically, when you start adding up that damage, it's a lot of damage to face. But who's to say you can afford to swing to face every time with this damage? And sure, you can buff it, but I don't know. I'm just not sold. If there's ways to add more durability, maybe, because you exponentially increase the amount of damage you can do with this card. Also, are there any other rogue weapons you'd rather have besides this for 4 durability? That's a lot of durability on a rogue weapon. That you're just not going to use your hero power. You're not going to use another rogue weapon. I'm not sold that it's good, but somebody's going to break this and make it good.
There you go. Next up, we have a rogue common minion, the Volpera Toxin Blade. 3 mana, 3/3. Your weapon has +2 attack.
And this is not a battle cry. This is a static effect.
Yes.
Meaning, if this minion dies,
you lose 2 attack.
You no longer have the +2 attack on your weapon.
Right.
I don't think it's great. Obviously, you're going to have to take use of that turn. I think if this had stealth, it would be an auto-include in just about every rogue deck. But then it may be broken. Maybe it needed to be a 4 mana or 5 mana 3/3 with stealth. I don't know. I'm not convinced it's good.
Yeah. All right, next up we have Plagiarize. It's a common rogue spell. 2 mana, secret. At the end of your opponent's turn, add copies of the cards they played to your hand.
I think this is a trap. And I don't mean because it's a secret. I think it's a trap card that people go, wow, I'm going to get so much value out of 2 mana. I'm going to get 2, maybe 3 cards. And they're going to be right. And fill their hand and burn their Galakron or burn their key, Jandis or whatever, a key card in the deck. I think this causes hand space issues that rogues don't want to deal with. Plus, maybe they play high cost spells or minions that are centric to their class or their game plan, but don't work for you. And then you're stuck with that card in your hand. I don't think this is a good card. I think it's a card that gets put in decks right away and it messes people up. And then as people start learning how to deal with this secret, like they did with Mysterious Challenger back in the day with Secret Paladin, it becomes less effective because people have learned ways to play around it or make it detrimental. Where Secret Paladin was great for like a few weeks, and then people started going, well, if I attack in this sequence, it is the least amount of benefit from the secrets. And then all of a sudden, the win rates of Mysterious Challenger Secret Paladin just dropped. And which is why I didn't ever like the deck, because I thought it was too easy to play against. Plagiarize might be the same thing. People go, well, if I can just say, if I have these low-cost stuff, I just dump all them out. Their hand gets full, and with stuff they may not want to play. So yeah, I think Plagiarize is not a good card, but a lot of people will try to force it and make it work.
All right. We are in the Rogue Warrior dual class now, and
getting there. We're almost there.
Yeah, 9 more slots. We have a rare spell, Coerce. It's 3 mana. Destroy a damaged minion. Combo, destroy any minion. I think this is just good.
So in Warrior, it's an expensive execute. So probably not good there. But in Rogue, it's an option of an execute, which they normally don't have.
And a cheaper assassinate.
And it's a cheaper assassinate. So I think it's got merit in Rogue, not so much in Warrior. But in Warrior, it's spot removal.
Yeah.
It's removal that it's 3 mana just to destroy a minion if you can play something else. Now, late game, they might have the mana for it, but do they have the other card for it? A lot of times, Warrior late game is just playing big bombs, 7 costs, 8 costs, or stuff coupled with their hero power, and they may not have room to fit in a Coerce.
Right.
And then they might have to damage it, and then it is an expensive execute. So I think it's another one of those dual class conundrums where it's better in one class than the other. So I think it gets played in Rogue, doesn't get played in Warrior.
Okay. Next up, we have Cutting Class. It's a 5 mana common Rogue Warrior spell. Draw 2 cards. Costs 1 less per attack of your weapon. So, in a say Warrior deck where you have the 5/2 axe in play, this is a free draw 2 cards.
Yeah, I think where you're going to see this more used in Tempo is in Tempo Warrior. If you're going to play it in Warrior, is in a Tempo Warrior, because you're probably going to be using weapons. And so this is going to be cheaper, and you want to draw into more resources for your Tempo. A lot of people have said, well, you put it in like a Control Warrior. Well, no, you don't want to put it in a Control Warrior, because you really don't want to draw a bunch of cards in Control Warrior, because a lot of times you're relying on fatigue advantage.
Mm-hmm.
You're just locking your opponent out of the game, and then by the time they get down to and they lose all their resources, you still have 5-6 cards in your deck, and you get the fatigue advantage on top of your armor. So you really don't want to draw a bunch in those type of decks. So I think in Tempo Warrior, this is a good inclusion. However, in Rogue, you just run this. There's a lot of good Rogue weapons. Your hero power, while albeit will only make this 4 cost, you're guaranteed to have a 1/2 weapon in most turns.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 mana draw 2 cards is not the end of the world, and Rogue wants to draw cards. But coupled with other weapons like the self-sharpening sword, that's just going to be free draw later on. And anytime, we've seen it, anytime Rogue can draw cards for no mana, it's broken.
All right, moving on. We have warrior-specific class weapon, the Reaper's Scythe. It's a rare 4 mana, 4/2 spell burst. Also damages adjacent minions this turn. So it's a 4 mana, 4/2 weapon that on spell burst can cleave.
So what that means is you'll only be able to cleave with
Once.
it for 1 swing.
Right.
Because a spell burst only can happen once, and it's only until end of turn. However, this is just a 4 mana 4/2, and we've talked about 4 mana 4/2 weapons. You just run them.
Right, yeah.
It doesn't matter what's inside that box. It's just a good card. You just put it in your deck.
Yeah. All right, next up we have a Warrior's Common spell, In Formation. It's a 2 mana, add 2 random taunt minions to your hand.
This card wouldn't be printed 2 years ago.
Yes, absolutely.
It's just too late. There's not enough good taunt minions to rely on this to be a good tool. If you're playing Tempo, the Tempo Warriors that exist now, you don't want taunt minions. You want rush minions. You want death rattle minions. And I haven't looked at top pool. You might have some really good Death Rattle taunt minions. I just don't think it's worth a card slot to get 2 possibly good taunt minions. Again, random. So you're not just pulling out of a small pool of like class of neutral. It's like every single taunt. So it's not reliable enough to know what you're going to get.
Yeah. Then we have the Warrior Studies card, Athletic Studies. 1 mana, discover a rush minion. Your next one costs 1 less.
Rush minions are good. This is great for a Spellburst activator in a deck that doesn't have a lot of Spellburst activators. Historically, a lot of your warriors don't have a great turn 1 play. It's usually a setup card, and this is a good setup. You can play this on 1, and now your 3 cost rush minion that you might put in your deck is now 2 and can be played on 2. So it's good. I think.
Yeah.
Again, these studies are good if the pool they're pulling from is a limited enough pool that raises your chance of getting a good quality card. And Rush is limited enough that you will get a good quality card.
Yeah. Next up, one of the other legendaries I pulled out of my packs, and that is Lord Barov.
Yeah.
Warrior Paladin, 3 mana, 3/2, Battle Cry, set the health of all other minions to 1, Death Rattle, deal 1 damage to all minions.
This is a great card, Warrior. He's bad Paladin legendary. You're wanting... This isn't what you want to do in Paladin. Mm-hmm. You're wanting to buff. You're wanting to have better quality minions on your side than your opponent's side. Sure, we used Equality Pyromancer or Equality Consecration before, but that's been replaced with the Libram of Justice, which reduces all minions on your opponent's side to 1 health, leaving all of yours still healthy. So in a world where Libram of Justice exists, Lord Barov just isn't good enough. It's actually detrimental to that deck. And I don't think there is a deck that Lord Barov goes on in Paladin that he is good. However, since Risky Skipper just exists, Lord Barov is good.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We have a Warrior Paladin rare spell, Commencement. This is a 7 mana. Summon a minion from your deck, give it Taunt and Divine Shield.
So again, I don't think this is great in Paladin. A lot of the minions in your deck are Libram activators that reduce the cost, or they have some kind of effect when they come into play that you want to control when they come into play. So in Paladin, I don't think this works out well. However, Recruit Warrior was a thing. And we have a card a lot of people have forgotten about because it's so expensive, Rattlegore.
Yep.
And there are other really good, big, expensive minions that would love to be pulled out for 7 mana and be given Taunt and Divine Shield.
Yeah.
So, yeah. This is good Warrior.
All right. Then we have a common spell, Shield of Honor. 1 mana, give a damaged minion +3 attack and Divine Shield.
This just makes the Korkron combo easier to pull off and do more damage.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Korkron, Shield of Honor.
Korkron inner Fire.
Yeah.
Shield of Honor. And then you duplicate it with Bloodsworn Mercenary.
Right.
Where before, you used the... I forget what it's called. It's the 3 mana spell that gives +3/+3 to a damaged minion.
Rampage.
You put Rampage on it. Well, this, you didn't care about the health. This gives you the 3 attack, but only for 1 mana. Yep. So that gives you more room to do even more.
Right.
So this is an even better Rampage in that deck. And I think basically you just take Rampage out and put this in. Boom, done.
All right. And then we have the Paladin epic minion, Argent Braggart. This is a 2-mana 1/1 battle cry. Gain attack and health to match the highest in the battlefield.
This is just sick. It's a counter play for an Edwin. They throw a big Edwin down, you slap Archer Braggart down for 2 mana. And then you have a chance to put other things on him, possibly give him Taunt, Divine Shield, whatnot. You play Libram of Hope, which a lot of times you can get reduced on to like 5 mana. Well, then all of a sudden you play a 2/2 8/8 right next to it. It's just good. Any minion your opponent plays, it's just as good.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Then we've got Paladin rare spell, Blessing of Authority. This is a 5 mana. Give a minion +8/+8. It can't attack heroes this turn.
I was very torn on this card. I did not see the applications for it. I was like, well, if I want to put it on a minion and then do a bunch of damage to my opponent's face. But I'm glad I watched the theory crafting stream, because Regis Kilbin used this card to ridiculous amount of value. You just send your minion to face and then you make it +8/+8, getting ready for the next turn, raising its survivability. Because a lot of people are thinking, well, you can't attack face with it, you have to trade. No, you can just go face and then put it on there. Also, if you put it on a minion that has summoning sickness, it can't attack heroes this turn. Doesn't matter, it can't attack anyways.
Yep.
You have a hero power that creates a 1/1. And I would pay 7 mana for a 9/9 minion. Mm-hmm. A lot of times I do that with the Libram of Hope, because I don't need to heal. I just cast it on my face anyways to get to 8/8 with Taunt and Divine Shield. So it's just a good card. It's just good.
Then we have a Paladin common minion, the Judicious Junior. 6 mana 4/9 with Lifesteal. I mean, 6 mana 4/9, that's good stats.
Yeah, but it might just be a little slow. And the lifesteal is going to be great. It's going to be great when off of random effect. I do want to point out, if you have not seen the card art for this card, it's great. And there are too few cards. There are too few cards or art or any kind of asset in games that portray people of color enough.
Yeah.
And this one does it in a tasteful way, and I really like the card art here. It does a great job of inclusion without being in your face. And so I love the artist on this did a great job portraying the character. However, I want to play it. And if it was 5 mana, maybe it'd be too powerful. There might be a place to put this in a deck, maybe a 1/of. I just worry if it had Taunt, I would play this all day long. If it was 7 mana 4/9 with Taunt and Divine Shield, I'd play it all day long. The fact that it's only Lifesteal, I want to play it. It's just heavy. It's a heavy card.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to Paladin Priest, we have a legendary High Abbess Allura. It's a 4 mana 3/6 spell burst. Cast a spell from your deck. Targets High Abbess Allura if possible.
I have not opened this card, and if I don't open this card, it's getting crafted. Possibly golden. We'll see what the art looks like. It's a good card. And again, we're doing the dual class thing again. In Paladin, I think this is very good. There's very few spells that you put in the Libram Paladin that you wouldn't want to go off. You might not want Libram of Justice to go off. But most of the other Librams you wouldn't mind her getting. The one thing to note here is if she casts a spell, say she casts Libram of Wisdom on herself, that doesn't count as a spell for Lady Liadrin. So if she casts Libram of Hope on herself, then you won't get that Libram of Hope off Lady Liadrin. I think that's not as big of a drawback as a lot of people think, and I think she's really good in Paladin. However, in Priest, you do have removal spells that could target her. you would not want her being hit with a Shadow Word Pain.
Right.
I think I'm surprised this isn't a 4/6, because even if it was a 5-mana 4/6 with this ability, then it wouldn't be targeted by Shadow Word Pains or Shadow Word Deaths.
Right.
But the fact that it can be hit with pain really means you have to cut that card out of your deck. And do you want to cut that card out of your deck just for this? And I don't think so. So I don't think Priest runs this, but I think Paladin does. And I think she's going to be very good in Paladin.
Okay. Moving along, our Paladin Priest epic is a minion, Devout Pupil. It's a 6-mana 4/5 Divine Shield Taunt. Costs 1 less for each spell you've cast on friendly characters this game. I mean, in a Libram Paladin, this is just ridiculously good.
In a Libram Paladin, this is a trap. I've had a lot of people come to me and say...
It could be a 2-mana 4/5 Divine Shield.
Yeah, on turn 10. But on turn 6, this is probably going to be 4 mana. Libram Paladin has too much setup.
I mean, a 4-mana 4/5 Divine Shield Taunt's still good.
And that's probably the best you're ever going to see it. A lot of people have come to me saying, you got to be super excited about this card. I'm just not. And I was skeptically optimistic about it. And again, this might be another reason why not to watch the theory crafting. Regis was very high on this card and never could get it below like 4 mana without holding it when he would rather play it. And he believes, and I agree with him, that this is a trap card for Libram, a Libram Paladin. I think, and I might still put this in my Libram Paladin, but when I need to start making room for other tools like removal or other quality minions, this will be one of the first cards I cut. And that's just my first impression.
Do you think this could be a one-of in Libram Paladin?
It could be a one-of. There's a chance that's probably where I would start, is cut it down to a one-of. But I think by the time you get the greatest value out of this, you're late game and you're playing Libram of Hopes or Libram of Hopes that you got off of your Liadrin onto your own face that you're already at full health. This is probably more of a win more card, but when you're behind, this doesn't help you.
Okay. Next up, we have a rare spell, Gift of Luminance. This is a 3-mana, give a minion Divine Shield, then summon a 1/1 copy of it.
Free Librams of Wisdoms. So there's a 2-mana 1/2 ooze that's like the copying ooze or whatever. At the end of turn, it makes a copy of itself as a battle cry. And I play that in my wild Libram deck because often I will play a Libram, it makes a copy, they both die, boom, 2 Librams. And it's so strong. And I told myself, I love to have something like this in Standard. And now we do.
Yep.
You play a minion, you throw a Libram of Wisdom on it, something else, blah, 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 whatever it's got. And then 3 mana, hit it, and boom. Yeah, it's a 1/1. It ain't that impactful, but you get those Librams back. And that's where that deck makes money.
Okay. Next up, we have a common spell, Wave of Apathy. 1 mana, set the attack of all enemy minions to 1 until your next turn.
I think in a Paladin deck, this is a stall card when you're behind, which can be good. I don't know if you run more than 1 copy of it. Also, I don't know if you want to run it in the Libram deck, because if you're running high Abyss Allura, you don't want this to be played just randomly.
Okay.
You want to be able to control when it's played. So maybe maybe it gets cut. But in Priest, there are Priest cards we're going to be talking about, what we've already talked about. I think we talked about last week, the new Cabal minion that takes a minion with 2 or less attack. So you play this for 1 mana, and then any one of your opponent's minions can randomly be taken by that minion for additional 6 mana. And then at the next at the start of your next turn, it goes back to its regular value. So if you take a 8/8 with taunt, reduce it to 1/8, and then that card randomly grabs it at the start of your next turn, it's now an 8/8 with taunt again. So it's good.
Okay. Next up, we have the Priest Legendary, Mind Render Elusia. It's a 2-mana 1/3. Battle Cry, swap hands and decks with your opponent until your next turn.
I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible, but the Battle Cry really should be add 30 minutes to a podcast. Because every podcast is taking forever to talk about this card. And for good reason. A lot of players are saying that this is only good as counter to combo decks. So you only run this if combo decks are in the meta to counter them. And I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think this goes in Tempo Priest, and I think it goes in Tempo Priest as a tempo tool. Ridiculous Hat on Coin Concede had a great discussion about this card. Myself and Wicked Good have talked in private and Discords and on his channel. We have shared opinion of this card that's just a good tempo tool. And I saw, again, I keep referring to the theory crafting stream. This card specifically, I did not know exactly how it worked or exactly how good it was until I saw it used by Regis Kilbin. And it wasn't that he figured it out. He played it like normal, and then we figured out how it works. So he played it on 2 with no cards in his hand his opponent could play. I think they were all like high costed, mid to high costed, and there was a Shadow Word Death in his hand, which there were no death targets. So he swaps his hand, his deck with his opponent. He then was able to play a coin and a 1-cost minion. Okay, so he got a 1/3 and a coin and a 1-cost. He got a 1-cost minion and the coin out of his opponent's hand. And then, so what happens is he plays it, he gets it, he does what he wants. His opponent takes his turn. His opponent is going to draw a card from Regis's deck, from your deck, play what he can or not play what he can. Okay. At the end of his turn, the deck swap back, and you get a card out of your deck.
Right.
So you have effectively denied your opponent possibly a turn, depending on how well you play the card.
Drawn 2 cards.
You've denied them a card draw. You don't get an extra draw. You just get you get a normal draw, where they don't get it because they drew a card.
Right.
And then you got the card.
Right.
And then they never got the card from it. So you basically took an entire draw away from them.
Yeah.
So it is just an ultimate tempo tool and just should be put in any Tempo Priest.
Okay.
Now, will Tempo Priest exist and be good? That's the question.
Right.
If Tempo Priest is not a good deck and not a thing, then this card doesn't get played. But if Tempo Priest exists or can exist, I'm sure that Wicked Good's going to make it work.
All right. Next up, we have a Priest rare spell, Power Word Feast. It's a 2-mana, give a minion +2/+2, restore it to full health at the end of this turn.
So, cool story about this. Alec Dawson said that this is supposed to be Priest of the Feast's son going to school. So I thought that was a really cool little lore bit. This is good because you give it +2/+2, allowing it to trade into something. And if you can get a good value trade, at the end of your turn, it goes to full health, and now your opponent has to deal with a full health minion. I think it's good. It goes in Tempo Priest, and I think Tempo Priest becomes a thing.
Yeah. Next up, we have Initiation. It is a rare priest spell, 6 mana, deal 4 damage to a minion. If that kills it, summon a new copy.
So a lot of people have equated this to comparing it to Time Rip. And do you play this card while Time Rip is in the meta? And a lot of people say no, because it's 5 mana to remove a minion, and then you get a random priest minion in your hand. This is 6 mana to do 4 damage to a minion. If you happen to kill it, summons a new copy. I like this card because as a tempo tool, it has a lot of variants that you can do with it. And you could trade one of your minions to really low health, do 4 damage to your own minion, and then you get a fresh copy of it.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a Death Rattle minion. Also, you could use it to kill one of your opponent's minions, and then you get a copy of it summoned on the board, not into your hand, summoned on the board. So if they have a Death Rattle minion, then you get a copy of it. So I like this card. I think it gets ran in Tempo Priest. I don't think you need to run time rips.
Is a thing.
I don't think you need to run time rips.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this goes in place of what time rip does in Galakron Priest. Okay. So yes, if Tempo Priest exists, this card gets played.
Then we have the Priest Studies card, Draconic Studies. 1 mana, discover a dragon. Your next one costs 1 less.
This is a great card if Dragon Priest can be a thing.
This is a great card in Dragon Priest and Wild.
Oh, yeah.
Is this an auto-include?
In Dragon Priest and Wild? Yeah. Yeah, I think it is, because it not only gives you another dragon, but it also reduces the cost of your dragons, which just increases your tempo. This is just amazing. Right before, I'm thinking of so many dragons I can't even pick one out. Yeah, it's great in Wild. This might be another 6-set meta card. We might have something come out in the 6 set in December that makes Dragon Priest a thing that torments us until April. We'll just have to see.
Okay. And then the last card we're going to talk about this expansion is the Priest Warlock common spell Raise Dead. It's 0 mana, deal 3 damage to your hero, return 2 friendly minions that died this game to your hand. So now, we saw a lot of synergy with Priest Warlock where your life total changes.
Yes, and in Warlock it's better because you can use your hero power and then you can heal back up with fragment cards and then you can use your hero power. But in Priest, it's hard to do damage to your face. Your opponent has to kind of do that for you. So you use your hero power to heal. Well, now here's a card that you can do damage to your face and then heal up. Now, I've seen this used in the theory crafting, and it wasn't very good because I think they were already down to like 7 health. They couldn't afford to take 3 points damage. However, so I think it's going to be good in Warlock, not great in Priest. However, Wicked Good, Priest Extraordinaire, has said that he is devising a resurrection style priest that this would be good with, because I believe Mass Resurrection is still in the meta right now, and in Standard. And so what this can do is those minions that die, you can cast Raise Dead to get them into your copy to put more of them in your pool to kind of fill up that pool with even more, because Mass Resurrection can summon a bunch of the same minions if they died multiple times. So I think in that kind of deck, this is a good card, and I can't wait to see what Wicked Good does with it, because he's probably going to break it. Okay.
Cool. Well, that does it for all the cards.
2.5 hours?
2.5 hours, roughly. I know you guys are probably ready to go, but I did promise you that I would open a few packs here at the end of the show. So before we go...
For our audio listeners, we will make sure... I believe he will probably have the audio on so you can hear it.
Yeah.
But we will make sure to describe what was opened.
All right, so I have 1 pack of Scholomance. I'm going to open it real quick. I just
got
getting,
what, Silver 5?
Yeah, Silver 6, I think.
Silver 6.
So,
good
job. There's
a legendary.
Professor Slate.
Nice.
And a True Aim Crescent.
You got a legendary, which is Professor Slate. You got the True Aim Crescent as an epic. You got Overwhelm as a rare, and then you got 2 commons.
Yes.
Really good pack.
Not a bad pack. All right.
Let's get into the Goldens. That's what we're here for.
Let's get into the Goldens. So first up, we have got 5 gold packs. Lightning Bloom.
That's a pretty art.
Smug Senior. A second Lightning Bloom.
Wow.
A Wolpertinger.
Oh, look at the art on that. It's so cute.
And Blessing of Authority.
Oh, wow. That's actually good art.
Yeah, yeah.
So Lightning Bloom, I would not... if you're a golden card disenchanter, I would not disenchant these, because there is a possibility these get nerfed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm going to hold on to those.
I would say this set specifically, I wouldn't dust anything, at least until maybe September, once we see the first round of nerfs.
Yeah. Pack 2, we start with Shield of Honor.
Good art.
Then we have Draconic Studies. Then we have
epics.
A Golden Epic Potion of Illusion.
Oh, that's a good one. I think I've only got one copy and it's in golden.
Yeah. A second Golden Epic, Devolving Missiles.
Ooh, I like that art.
And then we have a Golden Legendary.
So this pack has 2 commons, 2 golden commons, 2 golden epics, and a golden legendary. What is the golden legendary? Show me.
Star Student Stelina.
So, funny thing, okay? If you look at the flavor text for Star Student Stelina and the flavor text for Plagiarize, it's the same. It's the same flavor text.
That's funny. That is funny. All right, moving on to the next pack.
She's in the Plagiarize art where somebody's copying off of her.
Yeah, yeah. We have... There's that golden gibberling you were talking about, shaking the cage.
The cage, like the entire cage, you gotta wait for a second. It just starts shaking. It's so good.
Yeah. Then we got a golden adorable infestation.
Oh, they're adorable.
Just pulling on her ear.
That's cute.
All right. Then we got a golden judicious junior.
Oh, wow. That's good art.
Yeah. Then we got a golden rare groundskeeper.
That's pretty. I like the blues and the greens.
Yeah. And a golden rare Brittlebone Destroyer.
Ooh, that'll be nice.
All right. We got 2 golden packs left. We have a Fishy Flyer.
Oh my gosh, he looks frantic in that art. With the gold in his eyes.
Then we have an animated broomstick.
Which is animated, because
it is, because it's gold.
An animated broomstick.
And then we got a Wand Thief, which I love. It's one of my favorite cards in this set.
It's probably one of my favorite art. The Korean production group did a great job with this reveal.
Yeah.
And they had a character dressed like her, and it's really good.
Then we got a second Wolpertinger.
Ooh. Little wings flapping.
And a Golden Glide.
Another card you probably want to hang on to, because they may nerf it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I think it's less because of power level and more because people will just complain about it.
The last golden pack.
Oh my
God. Maybe I take it. Maybe I take back what I said about my luck. So we got a golden crimson hothead. A golden marrow slicer. Ooh,
that's gonna be a good one.
Yeah. A golden blood herald. And then we have a golden rare Shadowlight Scholar.
And a second
golden legendary out of my 5 gold packs. And I opened a legendary out of my regular pack. So now I'm up to 4 regular legendaries and 1 gold so far. So this will be my second gold. So that'll be 4, 5, 6 legendaries out of my 85 packs.
Now, see, that's better than me because I had 7 2 goldens out of my 140. Well, no, I had 8 and 2 golden.
Yeah.
2 of those are golden. out of my 145 packs.
Here we go. Rawrest Frost Whisper.
Ooh, that's a good one.
5 mana,
That's
3,
the card
6.
I kept referring to in Mage that will probably result in some kind of crazy combo. Your messages are getting blown up.
Yeah.
Oh, Nate Wolf. Yeah, tell him live on the show too. Oh, not live. We're not streaming, but
All right. Well,
awesome.
There it is. That does it for us. We will be back next week, and we will be playing a deck. We don't know what we'll be playing yet. Possibly some version of spell damage mage. I don't know.
We will see.
Maybe a new updated version of Pure Paladin.
We to kind of give you a little bit of a teaser. I am in collaborations and discussions with one Mike Lowe from Born to Be Wild about doing a collaboration deck building stream on my channel, which we will load up to the ECMMO Gamers YouTube. Again, we're still working out schedules to see if he can find time to do it, but I've opened up my schedule and hopefully he can too. And we might end up playing one of the decks that we build from that stream.
Awesome.
So we'll just have to see
seeing what happens.
See how the meta goes, and then on Sunday we'll decide. We'll probably be deciding our deck fairly last minute.
All right. So for those of you who are still with us at the end of this video,
thank you.
We appreciate you specifically. Yeah. So
no, not you. You.
Not the guy that left a minute ago after I finished opening the packs. You. So if you guys have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Hit that subscribe button below on YouTube if you've not done so already. Give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted when we go live. Although we're not doing Twitch right now. So just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. If you are interested in checking out our patron-only Discord, every reveal season, our patron-only Discord blows up because we are constantly theory crafting and talking Hearthstone. If you want to join that...
Launch day is going to have decks going crazy in our Discord.
Decks galore in our Discord. $1 a month, guys. $1 can get you into our patron-only Discord. Head on over to patreon.com/heropower for more details.
And real quick on that, I've had a few people ask me why we do that. It has nothing to do about the money. We want a quality-built community, and it's not about the $1 a month. That's
we're straight up gatekeeping.
We appreciate the help, but it's literally so we have quality people that want to be there. I have been in a lot of free Discords in various communities, and there's always that troll or that person that just brings the air down in the group, and we just don't want that. And we have been doing it this way for 5 years, and we've always had a good quality of people.
We've cultivated a great community over that time.
And we just, all we ask is you to be a patron, and then you'll be invited into our Discord, and that's it. So please, if you want to be part of that community, come join us.
That's right. All right, gang. That's going to do it for us. Next week, we'll be back. We'll be playing some games during the second half of the show. I can't wait. We'll see you all again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.